For all your holiday needs, look no further than your neighborhood Safeway. With deals down every aisle, it's easy to make the season special. Nothing says happy holidays quite like a delicious ham at the center of your feast. Choose from a variety of options. Hormel Cure 81 spiral sliced ham, $1.59 a pound, limit 2. Smoked ham, bone-in, portions or whole, $1.39 a pound, limit 2. Select boneless whole ham, $2.99 a pound. Or Smithfield spiral sliced ham, $2.49 a pound. Safeway, happy to be your new neighborhood store at 950 East Commercial Boulevard, Oakland Park.
Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, fool.
Pavement.
I'm on my way out here right now.
Phantom
I feel
Empire.
like I'm in a past
Part
life.
one.
You know, maybe a future one.
You see it?
Nigga. Can't sleep, can't eat. Got me on a mission. Sitting in the kitchen. Think about the guns, I need the brand new edition. Now I need the level head. Demons on my back. Cause I'm thinking with the devil's head. Allah provide me the sword so I can cut the devil's head. He got a hold on the ghetto. We forever dead. Cause niggas walk around like zombies. It's us versus them and we can't even see they army. They coming through the airwaves. Internet bombing. They put the squeeze on like Charmin. The shit is too deep for the dum-dums. Condos in the hood now. Fuck where they come from. They take the hood and disintegrate it. And got the nerve to say they motherfucking renovating. And got the nerve to say they motherfucking integrating. All they did is fuck the ghetto when they penetrated. I keep my third eye up, now my eyes wide shut. Cause I don't sell my soul, I'm no high price slut. I'm a rebel in the land of the peasants. On the front line when they rise up. The poor shall inherit the earth. For what it's worth, you see a devil, fuck a nigga, kill him at birth. Cause these are the signs of the last days. Loading up the guns while I blow on the last haze. Word, nigga.
Peace. Welcome back. I hope we were able to salvage. I don't know what happened. I want to just apologize to everybody who was listening at 9 o'clock. Blog Talk abruptly ended the show. I don't know what happened with some technical difficulties, but thankfully we're back. And Brother Hondo should be with us real shortly. You know what I mean? He's just getting a couple things together. But as I was saying before the interruption, the differences between how polygamy is supposed to be practiced versus how people expect it to be practiced in the West has pretty much become a watered-down version that is, it's a watered-down version that's really just designed to appease it seems like it's just a watered-down version to appease the feminist society into saying, like, for instance, the concept is you have to be a wealthy man to have a lot of women or to have multiple wives. So a lot of women are saying, oh, if you can't take care of one, how are you going to take care of all of us? And it's interesting because there's a lot of women who are monogamous to a lot of broke dudes. So if you can practice monogamy with somebody that's broke, why does it take being wealthy to practice it with someone who is, why does it take someone being wealthy to practice polygamy? You see what I'm saying? So we're going to get into all of that. You know what I mean? I wanted to bring my brother on, my co-host on, Jad. You there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Peace. What's going on, bro?
I'm sorry. You hear me now, Shy?
Yes, we can. We can.
Yeah. No, I was trying to blast this joint out, but no, I'm glad the brother Hondo coming on. I have a great deal of respect for his line of work or his area of study because me personally, I'm anti-tradition. Well, in this regards, American tradition, and that is a Christian or European tradition. I'm just anti that. Anything Euro Christian, I just don't want nothing to do with it. So, polygamy and what Hondo is presenting with the polygamous papers and just his perspective in general, it's a great look for the so-called black man, the melanated man, or the Moor you really, we're Moors, all right? But we just, however you identify with yourself is it's a great perspective, because for us, when we're dealing with these black women, these queens, we get locked into this thing of, I'm noticing this with men, it's just this thing of they have no problem conforming. The men are submissive to the women in our culture, our society, and like, so it's like you were saying just a minute ago, Sean, like women will say, well, how can you, if you can't take care of one, how can you take care of four? Well, that's because your logic, that's bad logic. The women are supposed to be taking care of the man, and again, I just thank you for the Hondo for his perspective, and I'm still a student, so I'm gonna sit back and listen, take some notes, and for all the brothers that's listening, y'all should really soak up some game, because this is over here on the Liberated Speech Show at Mercury, it's all liberation flow, right? But what Hondo's presented is liberation flow too, because it's liberating you from the grips of the vices of the hooks that the black woman or blackie has in you. All right, it's time to get your power back, black men, or whatever you call yourself. All right, and with that being said, I digress.
Indeed, definitely. Yeah, something I wanted to add on to that was while we get situated, get the brother on and all of that. One thing I want to add to that is a lot of people think polygyny is going to save the black community. Now, I said it on the show. I think it was the last show we had, or a show or two ago, and I said that in order to increase the population numbers, they would have to do that. But I just wanted to clear it up that I wasn't necessarily suggesting it as a solution to the problems of the black community. I don't think polygyny will necessarily solve the problems of the black community, and that's where the way it's being heralded as. I had a real good conversation with.
Now let me just butt in real quick too, because you know what? Yeah, real quick, and I'm gonna let you get right back to it. And my apologies too, because because I'm so used to talking to the general Negro that I black flies out my mouth easy. But this is a show for Moors. This podcast is for Moors or men who may be identified as black men right now, but aspire and know they are Moors and are working towards that. So from this point forward, I'm just gonna be talking to Moors. You know what I'm saying? If Negroes listen, you get it, and I'm gonna stop keeping, like I just said, wake up, black man. We gotta stop. We gotta just throw that word out. But go ahead, Shaq.
Yeah, no, it's a good point you bring up, because like as far as my audience, and that's the primary target of our audience. You know what I'm saying? And the Negroes, they have a unique problem in the context that I'll put it to you like this: there's another brother who I was introduced to through the brother Hondo. And this guy I consider him definitely an elder, an OG of mine. You know what I'm saying? This guy he's living and practicing polygyny. He's created several solutions to help brothers get custody of their children before it even gets to be a child support. I mean, he's done some very phenomenal things. And we was talking, and he was like, the problem isn't necessarily the women, it's the men. And, I had to listen because I wanted to see where he was coming from. And he was saying that it's because the men are weak. And you brought that up earlier. You know what I'm saying? That the men are essentially weak. So what ends up happening is anytime you have the thing about it is the pinnacle of what a man can do is raise a family. You know what I'm saying? And because that's the case, it becomes difficult to do that in this type of society, because there's a blockage put on the man's capability to have his family and raise his family the way he sees fit. So because of those issues, the true practice is never really implemented. You know what I'm saying? It's never really implemented. So because of that, you have people trying to make different mechanisms compensate for the lack of true power and control. For the lack of true power and control that they have over their families. So the inability to practice polygamy openly is one of those, because it's a natural form for the primal or original or aboriginal man, so to speak. But I'm not going to go on too long. We finally got the brother, so without further ado.
Real quick.
Okay.
Well, real quick, before Hondo come on, just to touch on what you said about men being weak, and this is men in general, but as it pertains to melanated men or Moorish men, individually, you have to raise your standards. But these men, you watch men go crazy about these fat bras, on what they think and all that type of stuff. Men have to raise their standards up, bottom line. You know what I'm saying? And that's that.
Oh, no, that's a fact. That's a fact. So without further ado, we're going to bring the brother Hondo Solomon on. Peace, brother. How's everything? Glad that we could finally get this worked out. We got it going. All right.
Peace.
Now, I know it was going to be packed, but we might have lost some people because of the mess up with Blog Talk and some of that stuff. But what I want to do, first of all, is I wanted to give you honors and thank you for coming on the show. And
hey, brother, I appreciate you having me on, man. I'm honored. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate it.
No doubt. So we just want to jump right in it. Well, first, for my audience, you know what I mean, so they're aware of it, just tell them a little bit about, yourself, what you've done. You don't have to go too deep. It's up to you, but just so they get a feel for, the work you've done and, any opening statements you want to have. The floor is yours before I get to the direct question.
Well, again, first of all, I really appreciate you having me on the show. I think we've already, the short time we've known each other, we've already covered hundreds of hours of discussion regarding what I call the ancient order known as polygyny. I believe that polygyny is the first fraternal order. I believe it's the first sororal order. I believe it's the first economic institution which covers religion, spirituality. It covers finance, industry, commerce. It covers military. It covers the social order and structure. These are things that everybody needs to consider when they talk about polygamy. But really, we're two of the few people, along with, I know that Dr. Gina Murray, Pastor Dowell, Brother Wild Wolf, they're discussing these higher concepts of polygyny. But, man, it's such a fascinating subject because, and I've said this for years, I believe that inserting it into any economy will alleviate many of the social ills of a society, because you're going to have, when carried out properly, you're going to have the right people carrying out. And I go into that in my book, and maybe we can touch on that later tonight. But regarding myself, I grew up in a polygynous family, at least in my household. I did see concubines. I saw a second wife or a consort assisting and managing the business affairs of her man. I saw that most of my childhood. And even though it had some tinges of Western culture, what I took away from it as an adult, those jewels were valuable, man. Those jewels were valuable. They're ingrained. I'll never let it go. And I still hold the man in question in high regard. I see polygyny as a positive thing, I believe, because I saw so many positives growing up. And I don't think the system was as tight as it could have been, but I don't know the upbringing and the training that both parties had in the institution. So But that's a little bit about me. And I ended up later on writing the polygamous papers. Hopefully, we can get all off into that. I'm gonna let you guide those questions, man, because I can go in. I don't want to be all over the place.
This. I'm just trying to get my audience acclimated, because this. See, on the Liberator Speaks, this show, it's a rhyme and reason. Every show is meticulously planned and in sequential order. You know what I mean? I'm very meticulous about that. So the thing is that this, the last time I tried to touch on this subject, I just didn't think it went well. Because we had certain callers, they kind of took it off it just didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Mm-hmm. But the next time I'm gonna address this, I gotta have the brother Hondo on. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
So it's all good. So we want to dig in. You know what I mean? So my first question is, what prompted you? And I said, hold on. Let me just say this real quick though, because I said it on the first time we just tried to do it, and we had those technical difficulties. But what I'm going to say is this: when we linked up, I found amongst the brothers you kick it with has been the most alpha males I've seen in a long time, as far as mentality-wise. You know what I mean? And brothers having their stuff together. And it restored a particular faith back into the brotherhood that I had lost, because I had been smothered in simpism, and my circumference for so long. I was like, yo, man, is there any brothers out here is not simping? So when we linked and we started sharing networks, I was like, wow, you know what I mean? These are some very quality brothers who are mentally acute, they're mentally strong, they're mentally sharp, and every one of them is on this polygyny vibe. And
that's right. Alpha males are usually on polygamy. Alpha males are usually polygamous men. We're the most alpha males. We're the highest level of alpha males you're ever gonna meet, because there's more to polygamy than polygamy. And you've heard me say before, polygamy is not about polygamy. It's not about how many women you got. I mean, that's the technical definition.
Mm-hmm.
That's the technical definition. But when you get into the spiritual dimension of polygamy, of course, not everybody, I know. Well, he's using the wrong word. It's polygamy. Well, yeah, I know the word is polygamy, but we're speaking of contextual polygamy, which is one man married to multiple women, or one who mates with multiple women, one who has multiple concubines. So we know what the definition means. We know what the spiritual definition means. There's more to words than technicalities. So we do understand that for reference purposes, we generally will say polygamy, unless something more precise is required. Nevertheless, polygamy is not about polygamy. Sure, most men at some point attract some other woman while he got another woman. Many of us have done that, and it's ended in disaster. But there is a science to polygyny or polygyny that I am bringing into the discussion. I'm talking about the worldwide discussion. I'm bringing this thing as a science. And I have not yet seen anybody else bring it as a science, its own standalone science, because it automatically, by itself, and this word is ironic, it's automatically what I call a polymathematic system. So when you start talking about being a polymath, you're someone who has mastered not only different subjects, but you have actually mastered different projects in different fields. See, that's what sets us apart from someone who just reads a lot of books and they know about chemistry, they know something about geographic history, things like that, and they know about biology. That's not necessarily a polymath. But when you get into men who are polygynous, you're talking about men who, by default, have mastered different projects in different fields. Even when you could be 18 years old and have another girlfriend. Let's just put this in just plain context. And those women know each other. I can name at least two things that young man has mastered in different fields. And it's every time. And I go into this in my next book, which is called The Family Crest, Polygamy as Economic Warfare. I actually go into how we can identify young men when they're coming up who are going to be polygamists later on. You can easily identify them. In fact, I was identified as a polygamist when I was coming up. I was actually told that by one of my family members because they saw that I always had multiple women surrounding me for guidance, for leadership, for counsel. Now, brother, we've discussed this before, and that's actually the centerpiece of what makes a man polygynist is his ability to guide, lead, and counsel multiple women, especially when they know about the other women. It is not about how much money he has, because money, now, Brother Manson, get this, out of all the facets of economics, finance is the only facet, it's the only piece of a man's economy that can easily be gained, but it can also be taken. Everything else in your economy, in your household, cannot be taken from you. You can't take your combat skills away. You can't take your social skills away. You can't take your ability to build something or industry. You can't take that away. You will always have that skill. You can't really take your religion away. Okay? You can't take it by force. Even go ahead, brother. I'm getting amped now. I already got it.
No.
Brother, getting amped up here. Go ahead, brother.
Keep it going. I just want to interject because periodically I might just, interject. Real quick, I was talking to Brother Wild Wolf, about that very same thing, because in our discussion, I kept stressing the resources aspect. And that's because I already did the internal work. There's other stuff there's other stuff I'm improving on, but I already did the internal work. So for me, everything is about resources. But he was reminding me, it has nothing to do with that aspect. And we built on it. But I'm gonna just say this: I knew I was polygamous from a very early age. I just knew I couldn't do the one girlfriend thing. I just knew it. Every time when I was little, adults used to ask me, so what do you want to do when you grow up? I said, I want to be rich, powerful, and have many children and many wives. That always, when they used to ask you what you want to be when you grow up in school, that used to be my answer. I can bring people from my past who can verify that I always said that. So I always knew that I was going to be that way. And that I was, wanting multiple women. Then when I was a teenager, my aunt told me something that I stuck with me, and it always worked for me. She said, never lie to women. They respect you more when you don't lie to them. Now, some of them like being lied to.
Your aunt told you that. Now, see, an older woman told you that. Now, that's interesting.
Right. She said, whatever you do, don't lie to them. Tell them the truth. So I'll give you an example. When I first started, putting my thing together when I was like in my, my early 20s, you know what I'm saying? I remember I had a situation where I introduced a girl to my mother. She was my girlfriend, and then I introduced another girl, and my mom was like, no, we're not going to have this in this house, right? But she couldn't do nothing about it. So she tried to convince some of the girls, or one of them, she was like, what are you doing? And the girl told her, she was like, I know what you think, but he's worth it. See, when a woman say you're worth it, you must be supplying something much more significant than finances. And something like Wild Wolf told me, he was like, and I've witnessed this. When I've been broke. I've been broke and had more women than when I had money. You
That's
understand?
Right. Yes, sir. Same here.
So, continue. I just wanted to interject that, bro. Please continue. Now, let me ask you
brother.
I mean,
you know how we do when we talk about polygamy. So, it's all good with me. Everybody is listening in right now, and they're about to get a treat, man. We got another 2 hours. They're about to get a treat.
We good. We're going to rock up. We got an hour and 35 minutes left, and then another hour after that to continue to go in. So we good. Hey. We want to make this one. We want to make this a bar fest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question.
This is just a sneak preview. What we got coming down the road is actually not a documentary, but we got actually a video interview coming soon And, you know, normally we would give this away at the end of the radio show, but, man, people going to look forward to that, man. We really go in, we got a visual presentation. It's going to be hype, man. It's going to be real hype, man.
Yeah, because you're bringing the Morris Harem aspect.
For a while.
Absolutely. And that's what I wanted to tell the people, too. The way we link this up is because when we started, see, harem life and Morris Harem was we created that to show brothers specifically that you have to want more out of life than what you're settling for. You know,
yes.
Like Brother Wild Wolf told me, he said, most men are just happy with a woman who's going to not argue with them too much, keep quiet, give her some sex and cook for them. Look at what you're settling for, and look at what you're underutilizing this woman for. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get too spooky or anything for people, but in the Bible or in the holy books, it say that a woman is a helpmeet. I've been able to make more money when I was broke, having multiple women under my guidance and leadership, and I'm glad you brought that up because I've constantly said that it is the guidance and the leadership of the man that is invaluable. Because if you're broke, getting finances and resources is not difficult. You know what I mean?
Well, that's easy. That's easy. That's easy. In fact, I'm going to tell you something Master Yada Yahoo Ben Israel said. Now, for those of you who don't know, you need to get my book. He wrote the foreword to my book, Yada Yahoo Ben Israel, or Yada Ben Israel.
Yeah, sure. That's a thorough brother right there. Thorough brother. One thing I got to say, though. One thing I got to say for my audience, one thing I got to say is the Hebrew brothers, I got to give, now I know you got your issues but
I concur.
They're the most, out of the brothers, besides Muslim men, Hebrew brothers is right up there with the patriarchal and the strong. Not many weak brothers amongst the Hebrews and the Muslim brothers. I just got to say that. But continue, though, please, about your book, Master Yahoo.
Yeah, you know, that's true, and hopefully we can get into that either later in the interview or especially in the video doc. We definitely need to build on that. You know, Master Yada, now, you know, I know this brother. Me and him have been comrades for some years now. And I've known Brother Wild Wolf for many years. And I want to let everybody know something. A lot of people think I rolled up in some libraries and sat down and just read some books and poof, look, I wrote the Polygamous Paper series. It's like, no, I grew up in it. I've had harems here before. Now, Brother Master, you know about my harem. So you know where I had them. You know who I was with.
That's a fact. I can verify.
Yeah,
and you can verify mine too. I'm just saying we can both verify that we actively see a lot of people. I just want to say a lot of people they be like, well,
please don't even own the evidence.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you guys none of my ladies. You know what I'm saying, I'm not letting nobody into my joint because I see how brothers do it. They find out who they is. They flood their inbox and you know so. But we both can verify. I can verify that you actively maintain the harem and vice versa. I just want to put that out there. So we're talking from experience. We're not talking from, hoping and wishing and believing that one day we can make it happen.
Right, begging women to be polygamous. I don't do that. I don't spend no time on that. If a woman asks me what it is, like I'm currently, talking to some women from the East, and I don't mean the East Coast like Virginia and D.C. either. Somebody asked them when they say, "Oh, you mean Virginia?" Like, no, I mean overseas East, like toward Japan East. Okay, and but we have experience, and that's what we're bringing to the table. We're not the only ones. Like both you and I know some thorough cats who ain't on the internet. We know some thorough cats who've been doing this for decades. We know these people,
right?
And these are people who trained and raised us to make sure we taught it properly, make sure we did it properly. So We're not coming off the cuff talking about, and I know most people who make YouTube videos, no experience. Most people who talk about it in these groups online, no experience. Or they have not had any type of success. And by success, I want to make sure we understand this. Especially, Brother Master, when you and I start teaching concubinage, bruh, that's going to be thorough. Especially when success is measured by the goals that the man has planned and reached. So some of us, we contract with our women. Okay, you're going to be here for 5 years, Just like in Torah, the servants were contracted for 7 years. Okay, these things are contractual. So by success, this is what we're talking about. We're not saying, oh, just because they were together for 20 years and then they're not together anymore. Well, you don't know what they plan. Every family has a different plan according to what the man has drawn up. So going back to Master Yada, Master Yada, in regarding the finances you mentioned, Master Yada said to me one day, he was in his hometown. I was on the road traveling. He said, look, man, Brother Hondo, you are the only cat I know who goes from ashy to classy like in 5 minutes. He said, I remember when you didn't have nothing. And he said, and then like literally 24 hours later, you had like some money. You had about $1,000 in your pocket. Then you had some other money in the bank. You had women. He was like, I don't know what happened. He said, but you're the only brother I know that can do that, and you always travel. He said, you're the only brother I know who does that. So, like you, Brother Manta, I remember I was living in the South, and I remember I didn't have a dime to my name. I was working a contract job, and it was very part-time. But, brother, I was kicking it with about half a dozen women, and they all knew about each other, and I didn't have no problems. And see, this is one of the things we need to start defining success by, is your ability, a man's ability, to avoid convincing women and just being a man. Because when you're just being a man, you may choose monogamy, that one woman at a time. But then again, you may be like, you know what, these 4 are talking to me, I'm going to choose 2 of them and just keep them to you. But convincing women, never. You've had no money and had women. I've had, in fact, one of my harems, I remember one woman was a mechanical engineer. I didn't have any money, though. I was working in the golf industry, had no money. She was a mechanical engineer. Another woman had 3 professions. She was a part-time yoga teacher. She was Moroccan and Cuban, too, gorgeous woman. So she was, exotic, So we're able to pull these exotic women, by the way, and people need to understand that we're not pulling like some average women. I mean, we can.
Yeah.
We've done
I don't tolerate dubs in my circle. No dubs. No dubs.
Yeah, we ain't running I'm not running no sled dog team. Now, I've only been with one ugly woman. Now, I can say that, just on GP. But everybody, all the other women I've been with, very nice looking women.
I will say this though, I'm evolving in my position because see, put it like this: I'm building a kingdom. So there's layers and there's levels. So well, let me put it to you like this. Let me just put this part out there. See, I have a method, and my method is rotational. And we talk about this all the time. And I'm going to change when I move move out of the country next year. I'm going to change my format because then I'm doing some things. I'll explain it later in the show. But my whole point is, currently my methodology is I have a 6-month program that any woman that is entering my harem got to go through. It's a 6-month contract up front, but they got to spend the first 3 months just acclimating themselves to my program and my system. Got to change the diet, got to get right. They can because another thing is also, sperm stays in a woman's body for 6 months. It takes 6 months for her body to acclimate to a man's sperm. And those men, and if she had multiple men, then they're already a part of her forever. So therefore, I cannot take a non-virgin woman I can't put her as my first, second, third, fourth wife and none of that type of stuff. They're not, in my opinion, and this is
she's
not.
She's a concubine. Just say it, brother. She's a concubine.
Right.
Just say it out loud so everybody can hear
that
and they know where polygynous men stand. You don't see polygynous men doing that. I'm talking about the ones who are cultured and who understand how traditional societies are still doing it to this day. They don't take women who have slept with 15, 20 men by the time they're 25 make them they first wife. They don't do that.
You can't.
Only circumstances will force you into that.
Right. And we know legacy building. When you're building legacy and you're building family, and especially legacy, you don't want your child. The science has proven that telegamy is real, that the child will have traits from the several men that woman has slept with, you see? So even though the child may be yours, he going to have traits of all the males that she been with, you see? And the interesting thing about it is you can't do, you know, I don't want that for myself. So and the brother Jad said it in the beginning, show you brothers got to raise their standards up. Because, see, we sitting here knocking women for making poor choices, but they made those poor choices with other men. Other men helped them make those poor choices. But if you're a right ruling man, like you always say, then that's not your obligation to take that on. You don't have to choose that for yourself. You see what I'm saying? And
you may want to. You
right.
may want to, but that's a choice, and we can never be shamed into taking on women like that, because as men, we're sovereign. We're born sovereign. Because we live under various slave systems, that we are no longer born sovereign, because, you know, we're tainted in a sense. But choice is really that is the most powerful element of being a man, is choice. And that's why men need to start leading the narrative and guiding the narrative surrounding polygyny. I'm talking about the leadership aspect. You know, that doesn't mean women shouldn't discuss it. But women need to stick to what women are suited for according to nature. You see women talking about what men should be doing. Well, no. Men have choices, and we have to choose wisely. If that woman's not a virgin, okay, fine. You just have to deal with things as they are, but you do need boundaries set. You need to let the woman know that. And ladies, you need to already know that. This is something you should already know. And if a man comes to you with standards, then guess what? That's what men do. And the best men are going to have standards for themselves, and you're going to see it and feel it and experience it. But you also have to come along and compliment that man as he rules, as he guides, as he leads, as he counsels. That's what women are there for, so that we can build upward and outward. All this stuff about, you know, women want to be on the matriarchy vibe. They want to be on the equal vibe. Well, women are equal to us in importance, but not in rank, okay, within the family structure. And I can prove that. I'm actually going to, you know, later on I'll go into some examples, okay? I'll go into some examples. But I've seen, you know, these alpha female type women, I've seen them fold before a man when stuff is hitting the fan. I've sat and watched it right before my hat, saw these women have nervous breakdowns. And they were alpha females, and I got degrees, and I'm tough, and I know how to shoot and all that, but look, it's like, no. You have to be trained in a warrior class. You and I talked about warrior priests before. And being trained as a warrior priest or as a warrior, there's certain types of training you go into that will destroy any of the vices within you. Okay? This is one of the whole points of training, you see. But nevertheless, because, you know, we can be all over. But I want to go back to what you were saying about spirituality. Is that okay, Brother Manson?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey,
so
you know, hold on. I just want to say this. I want this to be like everybody is a fly on the wall hearing our conversation, because I felt that our conversations are epic on these topics and discussions. So, hey, wherever it goes, where it goes. You know what I mean? I just want to tell you, too, I hope the brother called in today, too. I had a brother, he's a Murray Kush member. He just got back from Sierra Leone, right? Yo, the chief made him, they're kings really over there, but the chief made him a prince. And he said, yo, how many children? He said, the chief said, how many children you got? He's like, 5. He's like, okay, cool, good, because we don't respect men that don't have children. I said, damn, I need to raise some babies real quick. Over there. You know what I'm saying? But I hope he call in, because he going to verify everything we be talking about, high culture, and how how polygamy is ran and all of that. So I hope he call in today. But continue though, please do.
Absolutely. Now, I want to touch on what you mentioned about our childhoods, and also want to touch on experience. We can just bookmark those, because that'll allow me to be a little bit more formal. That way everybody listening can kind of get an idea of where we're going with my next book. Because my next book, you know, I'm including all of the information in that 54-page book of the Polygamous Papers. And then Polygamous Papers Volume 2 is the Family Crest. And that's when I go into the how-to, the application, I go into the occult underpinnings of polygyny. In other words, how is polygamy found in nature? I can go into all the sciences and show you that the whole world is polygamous. I can show you that. And when I say the whole world, I mean everything in nature is polygamous on some level. Now, that's something that nobody's going to teach you, but I'm going to teach you that because that's something I've observed out in nature. See, and I mean, I'm talking about the highest order animals, all the animals that, for instance, are, I guess you want to say, where the female dominates, the males are always killed, and they don't reproduce a lot. I go into that, you know. But nevertheless, we were talking about our childhoods, right? So you and I have discussed things we won't discuss on the air about our childhood and how we were brought up. And one thing we were brought up is a deep spirituality. Okay, we were not taught to ignore the spirit realm. So there's certain things we saw regarding female behavior, male behavior, how we're supposed to interact that we're bringing to the discussion on polygyny. For instance, when you start talking about when people would ask, you know, what do you want to do when you grew up, it was just natural for you to say, oh, well, I'm going to have a lot of children, a lot of women. It was just natural. It just rolled off your tongue.
That's a fact. Right. That's a fact. Yep.
Identifying polygynous young men as they're growing is part of the spiritual component of economics. That's part of the spiritual component. You have to watch your sons and your daughters. You have to see what sort they are. You can actually see polygynous system as you watch them grow up. Watch them
I
when they
want
first
to say
walk.
this real quick.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I just want to interject this. My nephew, right? Now, like I got a whole Muslim side of my family, and I got a whole Christian side. And I grew up apostolic Pentecostal. Let me say that. We're going to touch on that a little bit later. Even though I ain't Christian now, I definitely agree. I definitely attribute my strong spiritual foundation to that particular upbringing. But in either case, my nephew, right, it was years ago. He was a little, you know, we had family over and all of that, you know what I'm saying? And my Muslim side of the family, they got, like, gangs of children. You already know. So they all the girls, everything's over, all the little kids was over playing, right? So I come downstairs, right, and I see my nephew laid back with 3 of his female cousins feeding him grapes. You know, now in Islam, you know, you can marry cousins, and you know what I'm saying. But my that's not the here nor there. My point is, he's naturally polygamous because he was chilling. I'm like, look at this little dude. 3 of his cousins feeding him grapes. So it's important to identify these young men when, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to concur with that.
That's right. And see, what you're talking about, you were able to observe a younger kinsman doing what comes naturally to him and the women around him. See, and in Hebrew culture, you're actually allowed to marry cousins as well. Now, you don't find that much unless you go into, like, India, going to some of the generally the eastern countries. You even find it some places in Europe where you can marry a cousin. I actually have a kinsman who married one of her distant cousins. So you know, I've seen that. You know, it's funny because even some of the smaller details we discussed regarding polygyny, we've seen it. You know, and again, everybody listening, you know, polygamy is not about how many women you got all the time. It's bringing these other facets of life into the equation, so that you know how to run those types of households, or if you're a traveling man. Like, I've had harems that I traveled before.
That's how I am.
Sure.
That's how I am.
Yeah, being nomadic and polygynous, that's something we're definitely going to go into. I have a 3rd volume of the polygamous papers that I already started a few years ago. I go into more into concubines. I go more into how do you do it as a nomad, you know, because I've done it when I was a nomad. I've had, and for the record, I've also had women in different states at the same time. I've had a core group of women where I was at, and I had another woman who was literally about 1,500 miles away. I've done that. And that actually changes the dynamic.
I wanted to interject this, too. I just wanted to interject this, too. Like, what you're talking about, being nomadic and maintaining harems and being polygamous is not many men are able to do that. It's a very special skill. You have to be able. You know what I peep, though? Is the grander your vision as a man, the larger and the bigger the things you want to do and accomplish in life. Women, see, it's just like this. When you impregnate a woman, right, she nurtures your seed,
Mm-hmm.
so that life can flourish and grow. So it's the same thing with your ideas, your vision, your dreams, what you're trying to do. If you got the right women around to nurture those things, then you're gonna go far. But in order to, you have to be able to inspire women to want to follow you. You see, because the average man, the average man doesn't want to do much. This is why I tell people, like, if you don't really, I tell brothers, if you don't really want to do much out of life, I don't really suggest you be polygamous, man. You know what I'm saying? Just stick to the monogamy.
This is definitely the wrong field to go into if you have no ambition at all. You know, in fact, I have burned sisters out before like that. I remember one woman, and ironically, she was from the islands, but I remember she said something to me, and it turned me off so badly, and it was just yet another reason to let her go. She said, I thought you were just real nice, but you're too ambitious. And I told her, I said, how can a man like me, I was so adamant, and I was insulted. I said, what do you mean I'm not supposed to be ambitious? I mean, I went off on her because it hurt me to the core that you would actually tell me I'm not supposed to be ambitious. Because, brother, and you can attest to this, we were raised to be ambitious. That's how we were raised. We were raised to hold our heads high and be leaders. Like, I remember my mother told me one day, she said, son, I got to talk to you for a second. You know, I'm thinking I was in trouble. I was real young. I was like 6, 7. She said, you're going to be leading other leaders. And I said, I was like, first of all, what is a leader? I don't know what that is. I was too young. But she started to break down. She said, whatever you do, you have to do exactly what the Almighty tells you to do. She said, I don't care what you encounter. She said, you're not going to really understand what I'm telling you. She said, but later on down the line, when you become a man, you're going to understand exactly what I told you. Just hold on to it. And I said, okay, and I went back to playing with my cars or whatever toy I had in my hands at the time. It wasn't until I began studying polygyny from, a cerebral or an academic perspective back in 2004 where I finally saw what she meant. I said, oh, that's what she meant. And over time, that seed has been, it's flowered, And a lot of times when I'm speaking with women, they say, well, that's too much. You have too many rules, regulations. And I would ask them the question. I still ask women this question. When they counsel with that, first of all, that means you can't be with me. Because I've had to live under rules, regulations, guidelines, precepts, principles, ethics, manners, and customs my whole life, and it's only increased as I got older. I was like, so if you can't ride with me, you can't ride with me. I was like, how do you think businesses get built? How do you think militaries get built? How do you think social orders get built? How do you think financial institutions get built? I was like, they got rules, regulations, guidelines, precepts, principles, manners, customs, and ethics. And then these same women will go to work the next day. They will go to work and follow some other man's principles, guidelines, precepts, manners, customs, and ethics. And I said, well, isn't that something?
I'm glad you put that up because that's going to segue us into the other part of the discussion, which is the Eastern perspective of polygyny versus the one that they're trying to create in the West and the differences between the women. And I just want to point out that in regards to what you said about the structure, I just want to say two things about it. First thing, I put a post up yesterday that says, don't listen to these so-called conscious niggas. They're miserable and dusty, and they're just looking for some company. Get your bread up and travel. That's some more shit, right? So a brother comes in there. A brother comes in and says, I had a young lady tell me in the convo that the conscious community has no structure. She said she was looking for structure and order, but because the conscious community is anti-religious, most of the time she couldn't find that order she was looking for. So that shows that there are women who are aware and cognizant of their need for order, structure, direction, and guidance. Then you have the flip side of the women who don't want that type of order, guidance, and structure, and they just want a man to serve them. Brothers have to be very aware of what type of women you're dealing with. Women who want to a woman will say you're too ambitious because she doesn't want you to obtain a certain level of achievement that lessens her importance to you. Women are threatened by. I've had a woman tell me before that I've had a woman in my harem before. I had to kick her out because she revealed to me that she only really helped what I was doing 25% because she didn't want me to get too successful because I might kick it to the curb. So her insecurities and her fears will cause her to sabotage the situation. So brothers got to be clear when
polygyny is the wrong business for insecurity. Polygyny is the wrong business for male and female insecurity. In fact, now, Brother Matthew, tell me if this is true or not in your experience. Is insecurity, or is it not, the main reason why we remove women from our selection pool?
Yeah, it's really insecurity. Yeah, it is. It is. It's
because that insecurity plays out in jealousy. Why would you be jealous of somebody else whose talents you can't duplicate, whose skills you can't duplicate, whose gifts you don't have and they were not given to you? You lack the same training as that other person. I've never been jealous of another man in my life, from boyhood till now.
Absolutely.
Ever. I got my own unique set. And when I move among the brothers, y'all give me props. When I move among y'all, all y'all get props for being good at what you do.
Absolutely.
To me, that has never made sense. So when I see women, and women claim, well, we're not all the same. Okay, if you're not all the same, there's no need for any of you to be jealous of another one, especially under the guidance, leadership, direction, and counsel of a strong, right-ruling man. I mean, you see how everything we're saying keeps coming back full circle to something else. It makes sense to bolster your spirit so that when you move among people who may even be greater than you in a particular field, then you don't mind submitting to them. And I know that's a strong word even for some brothers. I'll give you an example. There's actually an elder that I know right now who is, he's been polygamous for decades. He's got a huge family. I've actually requested that he train me further in polygyny. Now, I'm saying this, and I'm writing the second book on it, and I still know that there's some gaps that I need filled regarding this information and regarding my own practice of it. You see, so even the men, and this is like just kind of a sidebar, but it's important, men need to learn how to be humble too, like especially if you see someone greater than you. Ain't no need for all that blustering and, you want to start stuff with the brother, try to take his woman, and you want to cause strife. That's stupid. And that proves you're not strong. Everybody needs a teacher, and everybody can use improvement. You see what I'm saying? That's got me hype right there.
Spot on. No, you good. You're right, because I got another personal example, like my uncle. You know what I'm saying? He's Muslim, and he. You know what I mean? He been doing it, man. This guy has literally his own tribe. He does not have to go outside of his family for anything. It's just deep, man, because it's like, and this is the thing. He didn't graduate high school. He's a millionaire now. You see what I'm saying? But
I remember you telling me about the brother too.
Yeah, he started off selling beef in the pocket, man, on the corner in New York. You know what I'm saying? But he used the deen, Islam, the same tenets of in the Torah. He used the system, and he used polygamy to build a strong family, to have children that have gone on and surpassed him. College degrees, brothers got college degrees. They got these different things. You know what I'm saying? He just married a brother from Burkina Faso and married his youngest daughter. You know what I mean? Raised all virgins too. Raised nothing but virgin daughters.
Say that again, brother. Did you say they were virgins? Did I hear you right? Did I hear you right? Say they were virgins? You mean they had slept with half the neighborhood?
Right. You had all his daughters, you raised them to be virgins before they married them off. And but what I'm saying too though is he married his youngest daughter off to a brother from Burkina Faso. and that brother in Burkina Faso is a chief. But he has ample land. They have a farm over there. So he just brought more assets and resources to the family.
Those are called kinship bonds, and this is why marriage exists. Everybody needs to start off with polygyny, thinking the word marriage, and after that you need to think kinship bonds, which is an alliance. That is a warfare term. That is a combat term. When you form an alliance, nobody uses that except combatant. And this is why I'm writing these books. I've been preparing people for war since 2010. I've been doing it almost 7 years. And everybody thinks, I'm like some people anyway think I'm trying to pimp or I'm trying to use women. I'm like, no, I'm trying to prepare you for what is coming. So a lot of my work is actually prophetic in scope too. And what you're talking about is power. So you just went on for 5 minutes telling me you started with your uncle. And look what you did. You actually gave us a family tree. You started saying, my uncle did this, and he married this woman who was the daughter of this man. And, oh, by the way, this is who this man's family is, and this is what they built. See, you just laid it all out. That's the whole purpose of polygyny. You can do that literally 5 to 10 times faster than you can with one woman. I've tried to be monogamous. I've worn women out before because they can't get up in the morning like me, and they can't match that energy. And even when the woman has physical energy, she can't do everything that I personally have on deck. I still have I actually have a sheet. I call it my master plan. I keep this with me all the time. And I have presented about 10% of that to a couple of women. And they got impatient. They couldn't even handle it. I'm looking like, well, you need to go get your cousin. You need to go get your best friend. You need to go get that sister down the street. And I started rattling off like that. See, this is real. And this is not us pimping. We could pimp. I mean, pimping is easier than us being polygynous men. I've had two opportunities to become a pimp.
Exactly.
And I refuse it. I reject it.
That's why I be laughing at the situation. I laugh when people say that because it's like, y'all don't understand how easy it is to be a pimp. Like, this is not pimping. Pimping is exploitation. We're talking about building generational wealth and family and all and power. You know what I mean? And one thing I will say about this is, like you said, I tried to be monogamous too. I'm too much man for one woman. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes, like, I notice women say stuff like they'll say I hope you're able to sexually satisfy all these women. That is, listen. I'm still moving like I'm 19. You know what I mean? That's because I keep myself healthy. But my whole point is, some of us is just too much for one woman. You know what I mean? I've had a woman. In fact, when I tried to give monogamy a chance, the woman I was with ended up being polygamous because I was just too much for her. So she said, "Look, I got to get you some other women because you're too much for me."
Yep. And you know what? I'm going to say this too, and I'm gonna say this too, and this is regard to courtship. And this is how, for those listening, this is how Brother Matthew and I. This is how our conversations go. We're all over the place seemingly, but we're always talking. We're always on the same page. 1 and 2. We're always coming back around to these subjects because our thoughts are circular. So we're constantly coming back to the 720 degrees. I should call it spherical thinking, 20 degrees of information. You see how we're going into various sciences. We're touching on experience. We're touching on what we've gotten from elders. We're touching, we're making sure that you understand that we've taken time to learn from people who know more than we do. And then we have to process it and then utilize it according to our own system and our own circumstances. And that's why polygyny is always going to look a little different when you go household to household. In fact, Brother Matthew, you and I have gone, we discussed our respective ciphers and how we move with women. And we compare notes. And you do things a little differently than I do. I do things a little different than you do. But we're always comparing notes because the society around us, if it changes enough in certain economic areas, I can now take on your system and you can take on mine.
Right,
See?
Right. Absolutely.
And it allows you to flow. It allows you to, and that's healthier. See, polygyny allows a household to become more fluid, especially when hostile forces from without are invading every day. See, so for instance, living in the West here, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, United States, places like this. Oh yeah, of course the UK. Places like this are constantly invading on your economy. Now, let me define economy. What it literally means. Echo is Greek for house. Nomos or nomo is knowledge of. So when you talk about economics, you're talking about knowledge of the house or management. By application,
yes,
knowledge means management or application of. So you are applying household principles. It doesn't have nothing to do with you going to Sears and picking up a polo shirt, and that polo shirt was made in Cambodia and got shipped to Miami and then got shipped up there to Detroit. That's not, because it doesn't have anything to do with your family. That's not economic.
But let me say this.
Sure.
The way that relates, the reason why people think that relates to economy is because who does the purchases? Because the issue of economy, the etymology of it, like you said, the etymology means household management. Why you think they all say in economy they calculate the spending habits of the who? Head of household.
That's right.
So now we have a situation where you have single mothers who are the heads of households. See?
Yep.
See how that
and
works?
they waste money. It's been proven. It's been proven that unwed mothers don't have any real wealth beyond other women in the society. I mean, we can go in on that, but we'll get it. But I just had to point that out.
They say this. They say black women net worth is worth $5, and white women are worth $40,000. Now, to a polygamous man, you know what I mean? When you start throwing numbers at us like that, now, when a polygamous man like myself, I'm going to say, okay, well, I want to add on to my legacy, to my enfranchisement. So, $5 net worth on a woman ain't gonna cut it. You know what I'm saying? But she may be useful for other things. You know what I mean? She may be useful for other stuff. So it's like you said, it's all about your choices. That's why when people be saying stick to this or stick to this race or stick to that, it's nonsensical to a polygamous man, because you're trying to obtain value and power in region, at least the way we think. You got some guys who are local, we're more global, and I want you to touch on that. It touch on the necessity of for some brothers, the necessity of marrying into other cultures internationally.
Okay, we need to, first of all, because I know, well, we both know who the primary demographic of the listeners are on this show, okay? Race has nothing to do with your skin color. Race has everything to do with nationality, which you may share the same skin color with certain people in that nation, okay? So we need to get rid of that whole racial color coding concept right away. All right, that was created. Thank you. that was created, nearly 200 years ago by Europeans who enslaved Africans here. I mean, you saw certain people being identified, by maybe the beautiful skin color or to enslave them, but it's always a slave system. It's color coding. So now we get into courtship and mate selection, when I have a chapter in the upcoming book, The Family Crest, on courtship and mate selection. I mean, that's a huge chapter. And I go into this whole issue of race and choosing women of other cultures, cultures that may be similar to your own, and even conversion into your culture, whatever your culture may be. And I don't want anybody start harping on Hebrew culture. I'm telling you, there are thousands of cultures in the world. So when you go in and you choose a woman, you mentioned net worth. If you are building an empire, say in the West, for instance, finance is big in the West. You need to choose a woman who's bringing some tangible resources to the table. So what if she's cute and she wants to give you some sex? So what? See, there are more women than men in this world. I actually have a chapter in The Family Crest, the upcoming book, where I destroy the mythology surrounding what the alphabet agencies have given us on demographic data. For instance, the CIA, the FBI, UNESCO, World Health Organization, the United States Centers for Disease Control, they have all lied about population data. There's not a 1.1 to 1 ratio of women to men in this world. It's much higher. So when women come to us, Brother Manta, and they start, and this is still on your point, when they come to us and they don't think they have to bring us anything physical, like, you need to bring me, baby, you need to bring me some money. Do you own land? Oh, you own land. Okay, well, that goes under my jurisdiction, too, if you marry me. Okay? Or, I'm sorry, if I marry you. If you own a house, that goes under my jurisdiction. See, this is patriarchy we're talking about. Even in matriarchal society, the man still ruled the household. And I don't know where people are getting these legends from that women were ruling over men in a polygynous household in matriarchal society, and therefore it's matriarchal house. That's not true. Okay, because matriarchy means mother rule, literally, and by application, it means woman rule, female rule. So it can be, even if she's not a mother yet, she's ruling the household. That's not the case in polygyny. Polygyny has always been a patriarchal institution, even in these matriarchal societies. So when we're choosing
something
a mate,
I want to add to that, something I just want to concur with that is the fact that when a functional matriarchy supports patriarchy, because female rule is only really relegated to the realm of them having an order established amongst themselves as opposed to an order established above and in control of men. I just want to point that out.
Correct. Absolutely correct. So when we go in and we're choosing women of other nationalities, first of all, brothers have to start opening up businesses. I remember today I was actually nearly late because of my work. And I said to myself, okay, and I'm glad because I told you this earlier, I actually secured a contract where I go, when I'm home whenever I want to be home. And I'm still making money when I do engage in this contractual work. I mean, I make good enough money where I can work the equivalent of, 10 to 15 days out of the month contract, and I can live off that the rest of the month. So I've secured that. So again, Brother Master, before we get back to mate selection, Brother Master and I, among others, Brother Wild Wolf and some other people that we know, we're behind the scenes. I mean, I know we've publicly been talking about polygamy for years, but behind the scenes, we're enacting those principles that we talked about. As soon as we catch an opportunity, a little window, we implement what we know in our heads. We put it to use. So that's something I've been doing so that doesn't occur, and I don't ever get close again to missing an appointment with the people who support us. So getting into nationality, once we, for instance, in my case, I'm talking to some women overseas and getting to know them. And I've actually been on Skype with their family, with some of their family. Utilizing technology and then speaking with the families to see if their culture is compatible with ours, because we're the man, we hold the blueprint, we're the one taking on the responsibility for guidance, leadership, and direction, right, and counsel. We have to make sure their cultures are compatible with ours. We don't have to marry each woman that we show interest in or vice versa. We don't have to marry a woman just because we've met the families. So if you want a Chinese woman, a woman from Shanghai, Shanghai, got a lot of business people there. About business, you're making $250,000. You might be in the medical field. If you want to marry a woman from Shanghai, ask yourself what kind of family she comes from. Oh, her father is a surgeon in China. Okay, cool. Oh, her mom was a surgeon too, but her mom retired. And see, now you got to get an idea of what type of woman her parents have created. We can go all into genetics, and I do. I go into all sciences from A to Z in the family crest. We have to look at if she is a racist, per se. For instance, in our case, we're brothers. So everywhere we go, we're clearly brothers. If we get women who don't look like us or look like our women, then we have to ask ourselves, what does her family first think about men who look and act like us? Our men are not asking that question. Now, some people are like, man, that's obvious, but have you enacted that? How many brothers, polygamous brothers, do you know anyway, especially brothers who have been bold enough to go get women who don't look like them? I can only name 3. Everybody else is scared. They don't even want to go get women who look like them, and this is whether they so-called black or not. They don't even want to go to another country and get women who look like their current wife or wives. They're scared. So whenever I see men saying, well, I don't know, man, that's impossible, man. I'm like, okay, so you already fearful. You need to step out of the discussion. Because I don't talk to scared dudes.
That's a fact.
I personally don't.
You know what?
I don't keep company with men who talk about something is impossible unless it is outside the bounds of nature.
Right.
And I've heard men say that.
I agree 100%. I just wanted to add to it that
sure.
It just touched on what you had said earlier about, you got brothers got to set up businesses and stuff. And the thing is, that I think that's the missing element. Like, we're entrepreneurial. We're entrepreneurs. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So to us, to me, I think that the polygamous lifestyle is almost identical to being an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Because you have to be able to manage people very well in order to be successful. And a great portion of that is when you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking that way, especially in this society on a global level, and you couple that with ambition, it's impossible to rule out polygamy. And that's why I think I just wanted to say, like, most brothers, they just want to have polygamy so they can have other sexual options. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not about the actual building of a real kingdom. See, nations are born, not converted. That's what brothers got to understand. So that means that your lineage, your tribe, brother, listen, I just want to say this real quick, and I'm going to digress. We have a unique situation in America, in the United States. We've been stripped of our names and heritage, whether we're indigenous or we came here on the boat. We've been stripped of that, which means that the United States Congress put out the apology for slavery, and it says, whereas Africans, this applies to indigenous brothers too, whereas Africans were subjected to indignities of being stripped of their names and heritage. Bang, that's one. Now, case law, United States case law, says that denationalization, the actual stripping of names and heritage, denationalization is a form of torture, is worse than any other form of torture, because it robs the person of centuries of an identity in the making. So we have a unique situation here in which people are looking for this big black unity. It's never going to happen. It's going to be the alpha males who establish polygamous families and rebuild their tribes. Brothers need to get on to building their tribes, and this is why I want to bring the brother Wild Wolf on. When he going to Jamaica, we're going to get back. When he get back, we're going to do some stuff on that, because he started the team that group was this tribal, and you know what I mean. Brothers start their own tribe, and this is the way you got to think. And when you're thinking like that, when you're saying, "Wow, my whole entire bloodline and heritage and identity, my family crest," and that's why I love the name of your book is Family Crest, because it's all about creating your tribe, your clan. And you can't do that unless you're polygamous. And if you're somebody who want to talk about monogamy and say that, listen, this is the way it's supposed to be, I'm going to have 1 or 2 children with one woman and all this other nonsense, just look at what's happening in Europe, where they're unable to replace the birth rate. They're having less babies to replace them, you see? So the whole point is that's not sustainable. Monogamy isn't even sustainable, especially for people in our position, being stripped of name and heritage. So rebuilding the tribe without polygamy is impossible. I just want to point that out.
Absolutely. It is. And, my estimate is that on average, in any society, if you just place, let's say, 5 to 20% of the families, and that's a good range, because I've actually seen upwards of 50% of a population in India that had polygynous families. But the 5 to 20%, you place 5 to 20% of those families of the men in the society and make them polygynous, you actually alleviate a lot of the social ills. It by itself, by default, it takes women out of public property. It takes the man out of public property. Because men, we do calm down when we're married. We tend to become other-centered. I talked about this I talk about this in The Polygamous Papers, Volume 1, I use that term other-centeredness because it makes a man start to realize his potential when he has a cooperative woman around. See? Now, haven't you noticed, Brother Manson, that everything we're talking about has nothing to do with pimping? It has nothing to do with exploiting women. In fact, women realize their greatest potential within the polygamous family. They realize their greatest potential.
Now, what's interesting is, like, I spent a considerable time around my uncle because I had to soak up. I had to soak it up. I had to, and I look at how, man, it's like, coming from a single mother home myself, I saw the struggles that a single mother has to deal with, and she just has no help. Now, she may have the sister around the corner. She may have the lady at a job that may help her, but it's always just getting by. Even if they have enough money and this, that, and the third, the upbringing is still just getting by. Now, I watched in my uncle's family, nobody needs for anything because they make it happen. And it's weird how it happens because it's like they just make it happen because everybody's doing. And I gotta say this. My uncle, he's a millionaire because my aunt, man, this lady, when it comes to holding him down in business, she is phenomenal. And I realized in my own life when I've had successful harems in the context of like being ambitious, that when you have a woman who is going to support you, bro, you can do, like, I can't front, man, you can do a lot of shit because I tell you another thing, when it comes, women could catch things that they're going to think about stuff we're just never going to think about, bro. They're just going to think about stuff we're never going to ever think about. And you use that because that's extra eyes covering extra areas for you. Women are great investigators. They're better investigators than us because they're nosy. You see what I'm saying? Some of the top CIA operatives are women. You see? So that's
because women are good propagators. Women are natural. Women are propagandists. They are the ultimate propagandists. Haven't you noticed?
Yeah. They dominate the social realm.
Haven't you noticed when you step out with just one woman, especially when y'all really got a really good rapport, and she starts chopping up game with some sister, you might be at the farmer's market. So, I lived in Atlanta for some years, and that's where I had my harems at. It was because Atlanta women, brothers messed up. Brothers could have had polygamous families there for the last 40 years.
I keep hearing that about Atlanta women. I keep hearing that about them. I'm supposed to go out there a little later. I'm going to see what it's about, but I keep hearing about them. I keep hearing that if they're though. My bad. I keep hearing about them.
No. You right. See, brothers in D.C. and Atlanta messed up because Atlanta, up until a few years ago, Atlanta was like, in my opinion, the best spot to go get sisters at, polygynously, because they don't mind sharing you. They don't. There's too many homosexual males down there. There's too many dykes down there. And there's too many brothers down there slinging dope and who generally ain't about nothing down there. Now, I'm not saying this is Atlanta brothers in general. What I'm saying is it's so concentrated that the women have been begging, literally, in the media and in person for decent men. So when they show up, sisters be clawing and foaming at the mouth, okay, trying to get these men. But they realize that the algorithm, what's that?
So I was just going to say that, sometimes I go in on the sisters and a couple brothers like, yo, Sha, Brother Max, I'm telling you, you got to come to Atlanta. It's different. The quality of I'm like, I stayed. I've been a lot of places, but I stayed the hell away from Atlanta because I heard the rumors of the homosexuals and all that type of stuff down there. So I'm not stepping foot in that place. But now, I got a lot of brothers that's making moves out there, and they telling me, yo, you got to come out here, man. You know what I mean, and see it for yourself. So I'm gonna see what it is in like a month or so. I'm gonna see what it's hitting for.
Well, they will be right now. Atlanta, the landscape has changed a little bit. In one of my courses, I'm developing a class for men on this course. I will be talking about the places to get women nationally and internationally. In fact, it's funny. a Filipino I just started talking to, literally like yesterday. She hit me up and said hello while we were on the radio show, because I had my screen open in front of me. And when we had a pause, actually, this is right when I came out. I was waiting on you to introduce me. And I said, well, I'm on an interview right now. And, yesterday when we were talking, she said, well, how many women you got? I gave her, oh, by the way, guys, when a woman asks you how many women you got, don't ever give them the raw number. Don't ever do that, because women are nosy, as you just said, Brother Massa. And what women do, if they
women
don't
like
like
out. That's what my aunt meant. Don't lie to them, man. Just tell them the truth, man. They're going to find out.
No. I don't mean lie to them. I don't mean lie to them, because we have to test women too if we don't know them. Okay.
True that.
For the sister asked me. I was talking to the sister recently out here where I live. I live in an outpost. You know where I live, but I live way. I was talking to this sister, and she said, well, how many women you got now? And, I gave her around. I said, I got several I'm talking to. I got about half a dozen I'm talking to. It's really a little more than that. But my core unit is about half a dozen of them. See, I talk to women in bunches. I know a lot of those, man, I can only handle one or two. I'm like, nah. What did I tell one of the brothers yesterday? I said, no, I say collect and build them. Collect them and build them. Like, like almost Matchbox.
That's how I look at it, man. It's like it's like Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, man. And you know what? What's interesting though is that if these women that we're discussing, a lot of people may not like that, but the fact is, if we see women are genuinely interested in us and they know we're polygynous men, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care if it's 25 women. You select from those 25 women. You may choose one. You may choose none. You may choose all 25 or anything in between. It's up to you.
Right.
But the young lady, the
Filipina,
let
me put it out there like this.
Yeah.
Let me put it out there like this, because this also inspired the creation of Moorish harem as well, in the whole concept of harem life. I just want to put this out because it coincides with what you just said. Al-Glawi, right? Al-Glawi, they call him the Black Panther. He was a nobleman in Morocco. He had a harem of 25,000 women. Nobles from Europe and Africa. Y'all can go look this guy up. Nobles from Africa and Europe used to come to him for wives. Now, one thing I want to say to people, too, real quick, is a harem is not a brothel. A brothel is a place where you go and you purchase sex. A harem is a man's sacred and forbidden chamber of women, where nobody has access to them. And it's not just the women that are your wives or concubines. It's your daughters. It's your women that are under your protection and under your care. You know what I mean? So it's not no brothel. They're two separate things. But my point is, the brother was so ill that they used to come to him to get wives, because he would raise very, very good women. And the interesting thing is, too, is that the current king of Morocco, now he made a play for the throne, you know what I'm saying? And he didn't get to the throne. You know what I mean? There was some internal conflicts. He made a play for the throne, but he didn't get it. But he was of noble birth. He was qualified, but he didn't get it. However, a dark-skinned African woman was in his harem, and he gave her to, I think she was like a servant in his harem. You know what I mean? So she wasn't even like a concubine or a wife or nothing like that. He gave her to the current king of Morocco's father. See what I'm saying? Now, the rumor is that Al-Glawi is his father, you know what I mean, because she was pregnant before he gave it to her. And he normally didn't do that, but he did it, I guess, because he was mad, because he wanted to have a play for the throne. So he's like, if I can't get it, you know what I mean, I'm gonna get my lineage in there some type of way. But I'm just saying, 25,000 women in a harem. Imagine that. Bentley made this guy his own. They designed him his own car. You know what I'm saying? This is how ill he was with it. So y'all make sure you check out Al-Glawi. I just wanted to put that out there because it coincides with what you said about the amount of women, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to actually, and when you're a man of stature and you can do that, other powerful men could come to you to get wives. And I'm going to just say this real quick, too. I don't want to keep going, but when I was even speaking to Wild, we were discussing about male networks. You know what I'm saying? You have to be involved with networks of men who are actively raising quality women to marry, because looking for women should not be what we have to deal with in the West. You're supposed to be able to go to a man like, yo, your daughter, whoever. Like, I'm looking for a wife, or I'm looking for more addition to my thing. What you got? Look at what you got. You know what I mean? This is what I got to offer. This is how it's supposed to go down.
Well, let me share a couple things that happened. One, and this goes back to the previous discussion. Now, y'all see how much Brother Manson and I, how much we discuss this stuff. I think that we've covered at least 300 hours of discussion on polygyny, just us talking. Like, you know, it's been a lot. But I'm going to give you two examples. And, you know, this is showing and proving, like the 5% brothers say. Because we don't like to just talk about polygamy. We like to give examples of ourselves that we've been doing and others. So I know of there's a man who's of German and Scotch descent. Now, clearly he is not so-called black. He is not, you know, some of the Western Hebrew brothers are all, well, he's not Hebrew, you know, all that jazz. Okay, he's not. However, he grew up, and I, like you, Brother Manson, grew up Apostolic Pentecostal. I was in it 30 years. Very, very deep background. He actually still is Apostolic Pentecostal. And I remember he said to me one day, this was about 3 years ago, we were talking. He said, look, he said, I would like you to marry my daughter. Now, wow. He told me himself, he said, look, he said, skin color is something that I can't use to judge another man. He said, you're a good man. He said, I know you'll never cheat on my daughter. He said, because he fully supports polygyny. In fact, this is Edward King I'm talking about, too, by the way. I know we naming names. See, now y'all find out we naming names. Edward King, he's of German and Scotch descent. His dad was German, I believe his mother's Scotch. Back in the 90s. I just added him on as a friend, I just linked up with him, because I sent y'all each friend suggestions for each other, man. I'm telling you, he's deep. Now, he's almost 60 years old. Back in the 90s, in the 2000s, he was writing online about polygyny. I have seen some of his work. He sent to me a manuscript that I saw, and he showed me some of the stuff he had online. This cat had reams of information on polygyny from a Christian perspective. I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's a big movement. It's a big movement in Scotland with polygyny right now. Big movement. Yep. Yeah. I did some research into it. Yeah, it's a big movement out there in Scotland right now.
Well, dig this. In Ireland, if you look up their laws from the so-called European Dark Ages, this is around the 13th century, I believe. I'm going to have this reference in Family Crest. It's called the Brecon Laws, Brehon, the Brecon Laws. And in the Brecon Laws, which one of the tribal rulers actually codified a bunch of their laws, right? In the Brecon Laws, he regulated polygyny in Ireland.
Wow.
Now, who's the funky? Of course, this is going to kill all the pro-black and the Afrocentrals because they think that Europeans didn't have polygyny. The Gauls and the Franks of Germany, they had polygyny. The Gauls and the Franks of Germany had polygyny. The Romans, and a lot of people are, this Roman system doesn't allow polygyny. No, actually, remember, we have to go according to documented evidence when and where it can be found. The Romans had polygyny allowed in their system. Okay, you were allowed to have a female concubine. Of course, many of them were homosexuals. The men were also allowed to have a male concubine as well as a female concubine. That was in law. The Greeks, same thing. I'm going to have these references in the Family Crest. See, so these empires all had it. These empires all had polygyny. These tribes all had polygyny. I mean, bro, I can take you up to the Inuit tribes of northern Canada and the North Pole. Did you know that they too engaged in polygyny? You know that. The so-called Eskimo. There's the so-called Eskimo, but see, that's actually an epithet against them. That's not their true name. It's Inuit. The Inuit have polygyny. And it was more common decades, so many hundreds of years ago. Yes, they had polygyny too. I have said before that everywhere your feet may tread, you will find polygyny. Now, Brother Master, you know my lifestyle. You know, I've been around the country, in different parts of the country. Everywhere I have gone, I've met polygynists. Not one of them was Mormon. Not one of them was Mormon, and I've only met one or two Muslims. Everybody else was not Mormon or Muslim. In fact, most of the world's polygamists are not Mormon or Muslim. But it's taught that most of the world's polygamists are, that's those Muslims over there that do that. No, actually, that's average everyday cat who do that.
That's right.
I remember
That's right.
now you remember I was in the golf industry. I was a golf caddy for 25 years. And you remember I just stopped being a golf caddy probably. It's been close to 2 years now. And I remember there's somebody who actually works with a very famous golfer. I'm gonna put it like that. And you know, I remember they straight up told me, they said, I was caddying for him talking about my work. And he said, look, he said, man, it's interesting that you're in that. He said, because he said, you know, I got a woman on the side. Now, in his case, he wasn't necessarily doing it like we do, which is upfront, honest, and open. But he said, man, you know, that's something that, like, I need to know how to do is do it upfront and honest. I remember, and I'm gonna keep giving examples, brother. You know, give me a moment so I can provide some evidence here. But I remember I was caddying in Palm Beach Gardens in Florida, and there was a guy from I forgot what his guy was from, but he was one of the 4 golfers in the group, and we're on the tee, and I'm telling him about my book. He's like, whoa. He's like, wait a minute, hold on, time out. This is a European man. He said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that you're telling men that we can just have a bunch of wives? I'm like, yeah, why not? And all 4 of these guys, these are all European cats, looking at me like, wow, this cat is just bold with it like that. I'm like, yeah, you can have multiple wives. Why not? He says, funny you say that because my wife and I went on a ski trip, I think it was like a year or 2 previous. He said, we were preparing so heavy that she got tired. She said, you know what, I don't really feel like going anymore. And they were going to like Vail or, the Aspen or something like that. And she said, look, I don't really want to go. I'm tired from packing. And, why don't you go? She said, now I'm quoting him. He said, my wife was like, well, why don't you go get somebody to keep you company when you arrive there? He said, just make sure that she doesn't come home knocking on the door acting crazy. She was like, well, yeah, go ahead and go get somebody to keep you company. And he said, he blinked and looked and he said, what, you want me to have another woman? And she was like, yeah, why not? He said he started looking for video cameras, bro. He was like, am I being punk? She was like, no, I'm serious. She was like, why should you go on vacation and you don't have any company?
And I'm
gonna say this.
I'm gonna give you an example too, and this is just on a lower level. It's a dysfunctional level, but it shows you the nature that women naturally are polygamous. They're naturally polygamous. You know what I'm saying? Their nature, even like even when a woman is thinking something different, her nature is something completely different as well. But I was talking to some hood rats. You know what I'm saying? I talk to everybody. You know what I'm saying? I always, brothers, I talk a lot about the sisters. Don't get mad at me about this. I'm just about to say something. I just got to keep it real. See, being from Brooklyn, New York, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to have a ratchet on your squad because she can help keep the other women in line. Because you know what I mean?
This is true. We could go in on that. This is true. You always need chicks in high and low places.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You do. That's just real rap, though. We can get into that, definitely.
So I'm kicking it with some rats. I'm kicking it with a couple of hood rats, so to speak. And I'm like, look, we just kicking it. And they bust out and said to me, don't know bitch wants a nigga who no chick wants. And this is why they actually go after guys who already are in relationships. So their bitch is polygamous and they don't even realize it.
Yep. But all we have to do is observe nature. See, brothers be trying to get all deep and, I don't know, and be positive theories. I'm like, bro, if you want to understand women, observe nature. Like, just listen to women. Women like to go on and talk and talk about their feelings. Just listen to them. Listen to them sometimes. You know, don't get tired of them, get impatient, push them away. Just listen and then watch
One thing
them
I would say,
in a
too,
natural
I
setting.
don't want to cut you off, bro. I just wanted to put this out there, too. In some of my darkest days and hours, especially fighting the European system of supremacy, you already know. Some of my well-to-do women, they couldn't endure those battles that I had. But the ratchets,
that's right,
they were there. They could endure the battle. You know, they was right there.
Yes, sir.
Bailing me out.
I know exactly what you mean.
So hey, it is what it is. But continue, bro. I just wanted to put that out there.
I know exactly what you mean, brother. I know exactly what you mean, and I've experienced the same thing. You know, different types of women, their upbringing, their genetics, you know, their experiences, it gives them each a different level of emotional endurance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's that threshold. They each got a different threshold, and women already have a very low and delicate threshold. You don't want to, and this is just a tip for the guys, don't purposely push your woman over that threshold, okay? Because then she ain't gonna like it. Don't do it on purpose.
Right.
I mean, you know, if you need to check her, you know, you gotta be gruff with her. Okay, that's fine. You know, if she does something wrong, out of pocket, okay, that's one thing. But in fact, I was actually thinking about this because one of the women overseas I'm talking to, because of our language barrier and because of the communication is sort of choppy because of where she lives at. You know, she got real frustrated with me. You know, I'm just very direct. I'm like, you know, why you talking like that? You talking real crazy, you know. But you know, I had to step back because she vented and said something to me. It made me stop and listen. And you know, it wasn't actually rude or disrespectful what she said, but she felt very strongly about that. And I actually thought about it. You know, I actually thought about it. I was like, you know what, you know, it's okay, guys, to sometimes understand you got to do things a little different with each woman. That's okay. You know, now we don't got to go crying and sobbing, oh, baby, I'm sorry. No, don't do that. I advise you not even apologize to women. Don't do that.
Yeah. It's all about the ebb and flow. You know what I'm saying? And the management, and it's a give and take. You know what I'm saying? You gotta. What I learned from experience, like back in the day, I just used to be. I was too hard. You know what I'm saying? I was too hard, man, on certain women. It was just they wasn't built for it like that, and I didn't have to go that hard.
That's right.
So I had to learn that you have to know how to manage. It's just like different crops. And I've always likened being the practice of polygamy and just being a man in general as being a farmer. And what's interesting is that husband etymologically ties back to meaning peasant farmer, oddly enough. But
bondsman of the house. It means bondsman of the house.
Right, precisely. So it's like you, as a farmer, man, and you're planting seeds, women in soils, you know what I mean? You have to monitor the soil. You got to monitor the crops. You gotta know how to manage. You know what I'm saying? And so and another thing then is you have to do the internal work to be able to be responsible to manage women. You know what I mean? Because you learn it through experience. I done messed up some good things. I'll be the first to tell you. I done messed up a couple of good things that I had, and I'm still kicking myself in the back because if I would have just been a little more flexible. Some women, man, you got to know when you got good women, though, man. You got to know when you got good ones, and that don't necessarily mean sacrifice your principles and bend and whip, but you have to be able to give and take. You got to know what battles to fight. You just got to know, man. You got to know. So I just wanted to put that out there.
No, I mean, brother, you make a great point, man. In fact, I'm a build on that. I remember my mom. She was telling me something one day. She said, and my mom was the first one to really teach me a lot of these spirit and occult principles. You know what I'm saying? We were building on that before, and so I refer to her a lot. I mean, I learned from a lot of elder males later, especially once I left home for college, because I moved about 1,000 miles away from home. But I remember she said something. She said, "Son, you know all those? Because I grew up in Michigan. So, we got willow trees. We got a lot of willow trees and things. She said, willow trees, when we get tornadoes, and you don't never see those willow trees get knocked down. I was like, no, all these other trees strewn all over the street. She's like, yeah, that's because they don't bend. She's like, willow trees bend. She said they bend so they survive the storm. She said, now, you need to be like that willow tree. She said, when things hit you and when you're dealing with people, she said, don't be so inflexible. Because I'm already like a real serious brother, you know what I'm saying? So, I've had, you know how it is, especially when we're talking about women, we like, okay. There's a using this word management, we're trying to manage the house. We try to be, hard cases, and that's good sometimes, but sometimes, you just want to chill with your woman. She prattling on about some color she likes and how she gonna design her space and all that. Okay, listen to her. It's okay to listen to her. You don't gotta put her off. I actually like that. I like sitting, watching, and listening to women be feminine. I like that stuff. And I've had to learn to appreciate it over time.
What's interesting about you saying that is, I had to learn that as well because, see, like, me, I want to talk about what I want to talk about, and what you want to talk about is not important. I had to learn. Everything is
a teaching moment, right? It's all a teaching moment. We think everything is a teaching moment.
Exactly. It's not. Exactly. So I had to learn, like, when you got to be able to sit back and watch them be women and enjoy. Like, even if what she's saying is stupid as hell, it doesn't make any sense, it's a part of her femininity. And if you don't let women know you appreciate them for them, man, it's all good. It's all balanced, man. I don't want to sound it. Ain't no simp stuff. It's just balance, man.
You ain't about to start simping on us now. Don't be turbo simping on us.
I'm just saying, brother. When I'm thinking back,
I got no willow trees.
Let brothers know. Sometimes, man, you got to have some kind of softness when you're dealing with women. You can't just be too hard, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a brother over here shedding tears.
Real quick, let me just say this real quick. We got 17 minutes on the official time on the show. If you're listening and you want to have some statements or something in the next hour, now is the time to call in. The call-in number is 319-527-6213. Again, that number is 319-527-6213. Press 1 if you want to get in the queue and have a couple statements or whatever. But we're going to carry this on until the next hour, and it's going to be able to be streamed. Y'all going to hear it. So if you want to be able to get on the line and say something, now's the time to call in. But continue, brother. I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, definitely, I encourage everybody listening. As Brother Master said, there were a lot of people, coming in and listen. So please, we encourage you to stay on in the next hour because you'll be locked in or locked out once that hour begins. And as y'all can see, me and Brother Master, this is how we build when it's just us talking. You know what I'm saying? So we just, we just enjoying the time. And brothers don't like to really have fun anymore. Like, brothers don't like to have fun with serious topics. We'll break like that. If we don't talk about serious topics and laugh about it sometimes, laugh about our mistakes, like Brother Master, we were just saying, like, man, we missed, because I agree. I've done that, too. I've been very inflexible with women, and I lost those women. I was tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just being just too hard with them all the time. And I'm going to give you an example. I was in Whole Foods one time, and I really like this sister, too, man. And she she was trying to show me something from, like, how Whole Foods got, like, that whole herbal section, little tinctures and all that stuff.
Yeah, that herb section is lit, man. I was in that section the other day. I almost broke my wallet, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can clean up, especially the ones that still got like dry and raw herbs. Like, yeah, you can clean up in there. But she grabbed one of them bottles though from like the manufacturing company, and she was trying to show me something, and I was off in my head somewhere. I wasn't even trying to feel that. Plus, I was upset about something. So I was chilling at Whole Foods on, and I'm walking in the aisle. She came and showed me something, and I said something to her. To this day, I regret saying it. I didn't show out in front of the whole store. But she kind of gave me this look like, dang, why are you going off on me like that? And she said something about it later. And looking back on it, I was too hard with her with what I said and how I addressed it. You know what I'm saying? Because she didn't do anything wrong. And I want to say that for the record. She actually didn't say or do anything wrong in that instance. But, man, I mean, that was about 7 years ago, too, and I still remember it to this day. But I could have handled it better and handled her a lot better and done things differently with her. I think actually she would still be in my cipher today had I placed her where she was supposed to be placed in my cipher. Now that's another thing. We gotta stop trying to place women all on equal levels, brothers. I know y'all want to make every woman your wife, and all your women got equal say in a relationship. Let me tell you something. You have a different relationship with each woman, and no other woman has a right to comment on your relationship with that woman. So what if you check your wife number 3 and number 4 didn't like it? She needs to go sit down somewhere because she doesn't know the whole situation, and that's not her place, especially if she's a concubine. She's of lower rank in the family. She don't need to be commenting on that.
And see, you know what's significant, brother?
They don't like to admit that.
Yeah, but you know what's significant about what you're saying is that's another thing too. Like brothers, man, if you got multiple women, you got to be a thorough dude because they'll gang up on you. You know, some brothers can't handle that. You know what I mean? You see, people say, "Oh, you don't argue with women." That's because they don't know how to. I'll frustrate the hell out of a woman until they shut up, and because you have to be able to demonstrate mental capacity, the mental endurance to go there with them, so that they don't try. You got to show them you master Yoda, and that's what they're looking for a lot of times. But they'll gang up on you, and if you can't handle that, then that demonstrates that you can't handle multiple women. But the thing that's very important about what you're saying is that establishing a system of rank within your harem or your polygamous family is vital and essential, because without that, there will be chaos.
Yep. Because there has to be a female leader of the other women at some point.
Absolutely.
That's got to be in place. In fact, one of my Eastern women, I've actually pegged her for that. Now, because we just started talking, because our communication is choppy again because of the country she lives in, I have not been able to tell her about my system, about polygyny and all that. So I don't know how she feels. She may say, "Nah, I ain't with that," and that's fine. That's her choice. I'm not going to, again, we said this in the beginning. Don't force polygyny on a woman to try to sit there and convince her. But she has leadership skills, and I see that already in the way she communicates with me. She has that potential. It's all about her desire to do that. But we need that. Always need that woman who is closer to us than the other women, who actually understand our mission and our values and our core being as a man and as her man better than the other women.
Right.
And more. In fact, I don't even want to say better. That's a bad word. That's subjective. She has to know us deeper. You using the word better, knowing us better. Okay, I don't want to use the word better.
Right. Just different.
Just different. And she has to understand us on a deeper level and what we're doing in life than the other women, because then that when she checks them, she's like, look, they see how she operates with you and go from there. Now, when she falters, it's okay to kick her out the cipher. That's okay, too. Now, I've seen that with a few brothers who had to upgrade their secondary wife because of that. And the secondary wife came in like gangbusters. You feel me? The second wife came in to the family like cooking, cleaning, giving the brothers some sex, not just some total cooperation, which is what we're looking for. So that's just something to consider, guys. And I do have a chapter in the Family Crest coming up. And by the way, that book, I'm going to debut that book summer 2017. I'm looking at June, no later than June 1st for the debut of the Family Crest, Polygamy as Economic Warfare. But I do have a chapter in there on contingencies. So what do you do when there's a death in the family? What if the husband is passed? I talk about wills and testaments. I talk about what if one of the wives passed? What if there's a tragedy where several wives pass? I mean, this book is thorough, brother. This book is going to be about 400 pages. Okay? So I don't want nobody saying they don't know how to engage in polygamy after I write this book, because this is a 7-year project. By some of the years, it'll be a 7-year project. Ain't no excuses. And that book is going to cost about $35.
One of the things, too, and I just want to iterate to my audience that the reason this book is so significant is because, again, I'm a solution-based guy. So what we've done with Merricush is we wanted to create a society and a system of brotherhood where we can reestablish where each brother is able to reestablish his tribe. So you start with getting the identity. Now we got the brother Nasir. He helping brothers get their finances in order just so they could be self-sufficient and efficient on their own. However, the next order of business and the primary order of business is the business of family building, which in essence is nation building. And to do that, you're going to need this book to give you the layout and the breakdown on creating your family crest, literally. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's essential. I want to make sure my audience understands that. That's why this work is so important, because you have to be into the business of family building. You know what I'm saying? And that is essential to nation building.
That's right. Now,
another thing I want to bring up before you go, I just want to bring up something that you was just touching on, as far as having having that rank within your polygamous family or your harem. One thing that I found off experience is you have to maintain different relationships with each woman, because they have to get what they get out of you. You know what I'm saying? To keep them sustained. And I say that to say, and then again too with the rank, because I'm saying all this to say I've had a situation where I've had one who was of a wife status. The reason I don't say wife per se in this society is because because it comes with the legal definition of what it is and the paperwork that they produced, and I'm completely against that. We end up making our own marriage contracts and all that other type of stuff. So consort, absolutely. But the thing about it is, the women that you choose to be a part of this, they have to understand your grand vision. Now, some women, man, is just good for what they do. Some women are just good at sex, man, and they're just not good at anything else. And if that's what you want
we need
for,
to teach.
That's
okay.
Right.
You know,
don't be ashamed of that, brother. That's just what she good for, and that's what she does. You know, so
I'm glad because a lot of brothers don't want to say that to women. You know, they're afraid to actually say that publicly, and I'm like, man, y'all some simps, man. Just say it. I mean, if she got a good sex game, okay, maybe cook you a little breakfast afterward. You know what I'm saying? Wake up in the morning. Okay, she's a concubine. Take care of your business as a man. Put her in a family plan. Give her a role. And keep her. I mean,
exactly.
You'll be passing her off and all that.
Giving her a role and allowing her to benefit off that role, and giving her the provision and protection by providing her that role sanitizes the situation. It legitimizes the situation, because anything else would be exploitation. Say it again?
That's right. No, I like the way you put that. It sanitizes the situation. In other words, it makes it right ruling as opposed to, how brothers talk, it's just some, man, it's a chick I'm dealing with. What you mean a chick you dealing with? What do you mean? Like, what does that mean?
Right, you can't.
Oh, I am. Yeah, we just smashed.
You can't look like that. Right.
I'm just smashing.
That's completely irresponsible. And another point I just want to bring up before I give you the floor again is the fact that I got a lot of issues with American women, but one thing I do like about American women is they are very keen on the marketplace and the value in business, and a lot of Eastern women, they don't necessarily have that particular. I won't say that. I would just say that the tenacity of American women, if you got her on your side and she loyal, they can be really great assets just based on the nature of the competitive environment in America. But before we move on, before we move on and before you comment on that, we got 5 minutes left in the official show. We're going to carry on to the next hour. I want you to tell the people where they can contact you at, where they can get your book, Polygamous Papers, and just get all that vital information out before the official end, and we can pick the conversation back up.
Cool. I appreciate it, Brother Master. Thank you. Okay, I got several channels. One, Facebook, of course. Most people know me from Facebook when I started in May 2010. I posted my videos from YouTube. So go to YouTube, type in Hondo Solomon. You'll probably find 3 of my health videos on my brother Brian Ogilvy's channel. That's a sharp brother, too. He raps, too. Brother can actually rhyme, low-key. But you can find my videos at my channel, youtube.com/Hondo Solomon 7, the number 7. You'll find there over 60 videos on the ancient order known as Polygyny. I am creating more videos soon, some self-made and some are going to be professional grade. Go to Facebook, type in Hondo Solomon. You should see a photo there. There's one with a blank photo. I believe it's my old page that I accidentally destroyed. It's still there. That is not me. You should not see a silhouette. There should be a photo there. That is me. So send me a friend request. Let me know how you found me and what you found. Let me know you're listening to the show. So you can go to Amazon.com. I actually have an audio book of the Polygamous Papers that I made 2 years ago, and that I paid a professional voice actor to do, and I never published it. I will be publishing that on Audible.com, which is Amazon's audiobook creator. I will be putting that there within the next couple of weeks. Again, go to Amazon. You can also go to CreateSpace.com and look up the Polygamous Papers. I actually get paid more money per book if you use the CreateSpace file. I also have a store on Shopify. I am editing some of the content of the store. I have a mug on there currently that you can buy 11 or 15 ounces. That mug has the new book cover plastered around the mug, the coffee mug. I have the new book cover for the family crest displayed on T-shirts, sweatshirts, tank tops. So you can buy those now. You can contact me for more details. You all can watch out for my podcast. It's going to be called the Polygamous Papers Podcast, or P3. That is forthcoming. I should have that ready over the next couple of months. As I am moving on the move again, and I will have to purchase some good sound equipment to make sure y'all have a proper presentation. Let's see. Those are really the only channels that people can reach me on right now. But hopefully I will hear from some of you. Please spread the word to those who need the information, those people who are right-ruling, and the women who support us. That will definitely help. We are definitely in the business of economics and tribal leadership. So give me a holler, and thanks for listening. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. You know what I'm saying? I just want to, congratulate you for coming on the show. And, it was epic, and we're about to continue on. Now, this is the interesting thing, too, that you just, I got so much to say I forgot. Forget it. Just go on what you was going to say before we got into the, that's what I wanted to say. Listen, man, that book cover you got is the example of what I'm trying to achieve personally. Because
you're talking about the new book cover, the one for the family crest.
Yeah, the new book cover for the family crest. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and that's another thing I wanted to say. What's so important about creating the tribal leadership? Y'all got to look at the UNDRIP, United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. That is some legal literature that if you examine and you understand what's going on in the world, you understand where we're at, gives you the capacity to understand how important creating your tribe in this book that the brother is releasing is so important. But continue, brother. I just wanted to add that to it.
Well, let's see. Where were we, man? We were on so many things. My mind is actually still in the spirituality of the childhood. If I can go back to that, that was a while back, but it's in my head. I don't want to sidetrack it because, man, it's so much in my head, man. We could do this for days. Okay, so I remember coming up where my mother, I remember one of her friends named Miriam. I'll never forget this, man. This is funny. I had to be like I think, 11 or 12. And my mom said, I had to check my friend Miriam. She called herself trying to flirt with you. And I'm like, brother, and this is very important for men, especially polygynous men, but all men, all men in general. We cannot be so focused on women that we lose sight of what we're supposed to be doing in that moment and long term. Coming up, I didn't realize that these women liked me like that. But my mother was always getting me hip to game, like, hey, such and so like you. And I'll be like, nah, I know she don't. And she's like, okay, you need to listen to your mother. She said, I'm an older woman. I've been their age before, and I know what I see when they're around you. These women are always coming to you for advice, and they stick to you. I used to have women come to the house when I was coming up, middle school, high school. Women used to come to my house. Now, of course, I had to be a gentleman and all that, because we were apostolic Pentecostal. Like your mother said, we ain't having that up in this house. So
right.
So their parents
they
my
also
mom.
know the treachery of women and how women, and they understand that women deal heavily with witchcraft naturally. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's very vital to understand, because if your spirit game if you ain't up on your spiritual game, like women are very much into the occult, especially when they get a little bit of info. So if you don't know the occult and you don't know the spiritual realm, you can go and mess yourself up just dealing with women. They can get you if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't know how to guard against you already know your circumference, and you already know, especially AP mothers, apostolic Pentecostal mothers. Like people, I try to tell people, like when it comes to being an apostolic Pentecostal, that's actually more of an occult type of practice than the regular forms of Christianity.
Absolutely. See, APs, we got slept on. People didn't realize what we were learning, and we kept it to ourselves. We're like, man, I ain't telling nobody that, because they ain't, And now that we're older and we understand the depth of the roots, it's like, when we say certain things to people, they looking at us funny. But we're like, man, we learned this in church. Especially when we talking to conscious ones, like, oh, well, they start talking about, Haru, and it's like, look, y'all just read some books 5 years ago. We've been doing this since we were, 1, 2 years old. We grew up in this, and we were getting that knowledge like three days a week in church and all day on Sunday.
I'm going to keep it 100 with you, too. Like, the apostolic Pentecostals, they was on that Illuminati, the devil sacrifice. They was on that before it was cool, before everybody knew about it. They didn't. I grew up knowing that stuff.
Bro, me too. And see, here's the thing. Out of the whole church world, I'm talking about Catholics, but especially Protestants, I'm talking about all the holiness churches, even Kojic and all that. Apostolic Pentecostals had the baddest scholars. I'm talking about Bible scholars. These men went to school, had, if you a person who's all about degrees, whole bunch of them old pastors got like 4 or 5 degrees, whole bunch of them. And see, a lot of people thought because they were like from the deep south and they talked a certain way, like they weren't intelligent men. Because I remember people used to hate on APs. And I'm like, man, that brother got 4 degrees.
Yeah, Baptist didn't like APs at all.
Nah, Baptist didn't like. In fact, Master Yada, again, Master Yada talked about this. He grew up Baptist. We were just talking about this last week. He said, yeah, man. But watch what he said, though. I'm going to piggyback on what you just said. Master Yada, now, he's actually writing a book on modern manners and customs. And he's also writing another book on called The Men's Manifesto, a practical guide to rebuilding and restoring righteous patriarchy in a matriarchal world. Y'all watch out for that book, because I know what
I got to have
we talk about it. Bro, that book is gonna be fire. But he got this other book he's writing on modern manners and customs. So, and plus he's a military man, so like he has the whole model down where he's like, no, this is how we deal with women. Very structured and order, right? So just last week he said, Master Hondo, he said, yo, man, look, when I was coming up Baptist, he said, I knew a bunch of apostolic folk. I knew people apostolic folk all I was growing up. He said, man, apostolic folk were the most straight-laced, mannerable, the most holy people you ever met. He said, these ain't worth the hypocrites. He was just real straight-laced people. He said, you couldn't really go to them with no trouble. He's like APs, man. You know, you want to learn something about holiness. He's like, you go to the AP, and that's true.
I mean,
the generation we grew up in, Brother Master, I remember we couldn't do certain things. And some people are like, what does that have to do with polygamy? Remember, polygamy ain't about polygamy. We're talking about how we were raised with manners and customs.
Right.
We learned that in the Apostolic Pentecostal Church. I still carry that whole vibe with me today, to this day.
Yo, you know, that's the funny thing. A lot of brothers who grow up that way become other things. They either leave religion alone, they become Muslim, they become the Hebrew, or they become whatever it is. But we never forget that foundation, because I give you an example. Like my half of my again, like the matriarch in my family is my mother, and the patriarch in the family is my uncle. He went with Islam, Sunni Islam, and my mother went with AP. You know what I'm saying? But the level of strictness was damn near identical. Like my mom to this day, she don't wear nothing that show her arms, her neck. You know what I'm saying? All covered. You know what I'm saying? So
even as a man, brother, I dress a certain way. I still dress polo shirt and jeans, or polo shirt tucked into slacks and casual shoes.
Right.
I don't, you know, to this, you know, I mean,
my mom,
I'm in shape.
Sent me to school. She sent me to school my first day of school in first grade. I had a briefcase, a trench coat, and a suit. Man, that's where I learned to be so witty at. Because I was like, "Ma, you're killing me here." You know what I mean? But
man, you crack your brother's style, man.
That dress, you know.
You're crappy your style, man. Young G, man, you can't do it. But you know what? We respect it now, though. We respect it now.
Right. Absolutely.
Looking back, because you know they were making sure that we were on straight and narrow, and I see now, even when dealing with women, how like why I do certain things, and I'm glad that I had that foundation, because you don't see that among the Kemetic crew. You don't see the level of discipline we grew up with. You don't see it.
Just read it.
Now, I'm about to say something
real
bold. Yep.
Bro,
now,
I read it earlier. The dude said the girl was looking for structure and order, and she could not find it in the conscious community.
Couldn't find it. I'm even gonna go a step further. I don't even see the level of discipline we grew up in the Nation of Islam. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say now. If you look back at how we were even expecting. Let me make a comparison and contrast here, because a lot of people think I'm jiving when I say that, or I'm reaching. So let me prove it. Apostolic Pentecostals, when we went to school among non-apostolic Pentecostals, we went to someone else's church, who was not of our denomination, we went to overseas to do anything. If we were expected to always conduct ourselves that way. Nation of Islam, and this is not a knock, it's just the way the respective cultures are. You know, you're expected to conduct yourself a certain way, sure, but we didn't necessarily have to be. Oh man, how can I put this? We couldn't put on a show just when we went to church. Like if you were a hypocrite in AP, you were called out for that. We were like, oh man, you ain't supposed to be doing that. You ain't going to the club. What are you talking about? But you know, like other kids would be looking at you in the church and be like, bruh, you was at the club? They would stop talking to you for like a year. You would be shunned. Look, the 3 levels of punishment in any culture are actually there's 4 levels of punishment: shaming, shunning, and exile. And they're progressive stages. Shaming, shunning, exile, and then you may be executed depending on what you've done, okay, if it's egregious enough. So with us, we will put, you know, you had to go to the altar, ask for forgiveness. You may have, you need to go to get in the Holy Ghost, speak in tongues or whatever. And get this, just to show you that men have different rules than women, and this is good because men are expected to be a certain way sexually. When you knew dudes in the AP church who had concubines outside that church, remember, you never had concubines in the church. You better not do that. If you were sleeping with a woman you weren't married to, she better not go to that church. And she better not even be a church girl. She better be out in the world. You mentioned it earlier in another context. You said we always need a ratchet chick in our cipher. We always need a chick we always need a woman who's a little bit outside of our bounds. Okay,
right.
Who will push our envelope a little bit. I love having one of those in my cycle because it always makes me think a little bit. Now,
right, absolutely.
When a woman, I did not see any woman actually have a child out of wedlock in the Apostolic Pentecostal Church up until I had left the last church I attended, and I had returned after 2 years. And it was a sister you would never expect to have one. Now, I don't know the story behind it because when I came back, she didn't explain it. She and I were close. Not close in that sense. You know, she liked me, but she was the older sister. I didn't like her. Nevertheless, she is the only woman I can actually know. Yeah, she's the only woman I can think of right off the top in 30 years of me being outside Pentecostal that I can say, oh, she had a child out of wedlock and still was at that church. I literally can't name even a second woman in 30 years because our generation coming up didn't play that. Now, this new generation coming up, they're a little more lax. But sisters couldn't come in with tight dresses. The two women I knew coming up who wore tight dresses, we knew they were hoes. We knew somehow or other they were hoes. We knew that. But they had tight bodies. They were fine, but we're like, nah.
And I just want the audience to understand that what's interesting is what we're discussing is that this is in the context of how this sect of Christianity was very vital in shaping the moral principles of our being and why systems, not just AP, but we just distinguishing that because that's our background, but why it's important to have systems in place, because what brothers complain about the quality of women is due to the males' lack of creating structured systems to protect their virtues. You see?
Yep.
So when you don't have these structures and systems in play to protect the women's virtues, you're going to end up with the type of situation we have now. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But real quick,
you're gonna have more loose women. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I just real quick, brother. I got some couple callers in here. Is it okay with you? I think there's a couple that we don't get no idiots that call in this show. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure some brothers that want to add on and since we're in that other hour. So before I do that, I want to my co-host Jad tonight. What's up, brother? You still there with us? Jad, you still there? All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the brother caller ending in 7672. Peace, you on the air. What's the deal, brother? What's going on with you? What you want to share with us tonight?
Yo, what's up?
What up?
You hear me? Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, nah, y'all was going in, man.
Who is this, brother? Identify yourself.
Oh, this Reed, man.
Okay.
Every time I call in,
what's up, bro? Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Hondo, you sent me a friend request, and I'm saying I accepted that and peep game what you got, but y'all, speaking on polygamous, and I was, I used to look at it like it was a type of marriage or whatever, but the way y'all breaking it down, it's similar to pimping, but it's really not. You're not exploiting. It's basically everybody gathering up their resources and stuff. And, I tried to be with one woman and, just naturally, I really can't do one woman. And it ain't like, 'cause I want to freak off with a lot of them, but I just need multiple women, you know what I'm saying? Trying to do it, but, it's kind of hard because the way they programmed, you know what I'm saying? They just want that marriage, you and her, and then that's it. But, y'all just speaking on so much, man. I don't even want to hold y'all up. because other people want to get in, but
But it's deep, man. I'm over here grinning ear to ear, man. It's deep, ain't it? It's like you get into polygyny, brother, and you start building like a cipher, man. And like, man, I wish y'all could like be in on Brother Manson and I's conversations about this, man. Because Brother Manson, we've sat and talked about this one-on-one for literally like 3.5 hours. I remember one time we talked for 3.5 hours, then we did that again like a few weeks later. We just go in, and we just be breaking down the science, man. It's what Brother Reed is saying, and I can see Brother Reed just sitting there like just meditating on that, man. It's deep. These waters run.
Yeah,
deeper,
because
man.
y'all was speaking on experience that I've experienced too, and I just want to say this, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm dealing with a chick because, you know, I was being strategic. I picked the right one because I'm like, she got resources. I don't have to sit up here and clean up her messes financially. You know what I'm saying? Me and her, we didn't travel together. We good. I do love her to death. But you know how women be, and sometimes I need my space and go somewhere else. And Cheyenne was like, women are investigators. So she being nosy one day, right?
Yo, I just want to say this real quick. I just want to say this real quick. See, when you get with a woman, right? She's thinking about you all the time. Just think about a mother. Just think about a mother, right? A mother, she's thinking about what they doing, what they up to. You know what I'm saying? They better not. You know, so their whole thing becomes about making sure they know what's going on with you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what drives the investigative powers that they have. But go ahead, though. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, so she go through my stuff and found the old message. I mean, this message was like it was old. She was like, so when I was in school, who was coming to your crib, whatever. And I'm like, what the hell this come from? I'm like, this don't even, like, seriously, I didn't get the whole messages, brother. I'm like, I don't, it was so long ago. So, like you saying, y'all used to be hard on the sisters. I got pissed because I'm like, yo, you breaking into my shit. You know what I'm saying? That's disrespectful. You going through my shit. You know what I'm saying? So then, we start talking or whatever. She like, but I still want to work it out. I love y'all. I don't want to go nowhere. I said, cool, but you just went through my stuff, and I really didn't even give her a reason to go through my stuff. Like, I was really just dealing with her for that moment. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so she ended up contacting Shorty. Shorty just told her, like, yo, we good friends, whatever. I'm like, ooh. Shorty called me. She was like, yeah, your girl, you know what I'm saying, called me. It's good or whatever. And I'm like, damn. She could have, they both could have double teamed on me and whatever. And she could have been like, oh, I like him and I didn't know he had a girl and all this stuff. You know how women be, but, she just kept it playing and still keep in contact with me, whatever. And I'm like, I wish I could just keep both of them, but the one that I really need, that's, what I'm saying, that's good financially, whatever, got the resources, she really ain't trying to do it.
Okay.
She really ain't trying to do it.
What you do, Brother Reed, what you do in that case, you leave her in your orbit. I call that leaving a woman in your orbit. Because, women have beta male orbiters, these dudes who are trying to, they friend zone. Actually, polygynous men got orbiters. If you notice, we always got women around somewhere who trying to get in, but they floating and looking and investigating. So that one who ain't really trying to deal with you, as you say, if she's still around and calling, that means she's interested. Just play it off, bro. Just look. If she, hey, what you doing, blah, blah. Oh, good thing you called. Why don't you come over, cook some breakfast or something. Like, put it, don't make it sound like work. Just be like, come over and eat some breakfast. Why don't you bring, come over and make maybe some pancakes. You know what I'm saying? throw down on the jam. Seriously, just make it fun. You know, women don't always like being shouted orders at, but she can engage with you and other women, and any other woman, and she really trip because she's calling you knowing you have another woman. You see what I'm saying? So just put it out there.
Yeah, because the one, you know, the one that I break bread with, we do everything. She the one that went through my stuff, and she was like, "Well, I just want to know what type of man you were." And I'm like, when she said that, I'm like, damn, should I just go and tell her? Like, sometimes I just like to have a few joints here and there, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to disrespect what we get. Now, real talk, because when she contacted Shorty could have just went in, but she just said, "No, we're good friends," and he left it at that. But the one she contacted, yeah.
Let me put this out there like this. See, you got something called side chick culture going on, which is a bastardized form of polygamy. You know what I'm saying? And the interesting thing about it is, see, the main wife or the main woman, let's just break it down in these terms, they're territorial. You know, you got to understand, women are predators too. You know what I'm saying? So they're territorial. You know what I mean? And this society pumps them up. And you got to remember, most women grew up off Disney. You see? So they're looking for that, the Disney thing. So what I would suggest though is
the princess culture.
You made the first mistake. The first mistake you made was in the beginning of the relationship, which is telling them up front what you're about. And we're not used to doing that as a people, as brothers, because, you know, if you say the wrong thing, you ain't going to get the second base, third base, whatever the case may be, right? But it's more worth it to just put it up front. Now, I'm going to say this, how I would handle it, I'll put, if you know she ain't going to always be number one, it's just best to nip it in the bud right now and tell her, this is who I am, this is how I'm flowing, this is what I want out of life, and, yo, you know what I'm saying, you either, and this is what I learned from women. And this one, really, I learned this one from them. If you love me, you're going to deal with it. Because you got to accept me for who I am. So I would say that, you know, being honest, be truthful to them is, it saves you a lot of headache in the long, because it's like, if you continue building with her, yeah, you got a good thing with her. But if you continue building with her and you know you're going to be dipping, it's best to come clean, and it's best to bring sanitation to the situation, because the side chicks and all that, they're auditioning. You see, the side chick is always auditioning. So she, in this culture, she's anticipating that one day you're going to leave her and make her number one. What these women have to understand is that y'all are on my squad. You're on my team. I'm building a team here. This is how I'm flowing. This is what I want to do. And you either in or you're out. But when you got a woman like the one you got, you know, you kind of got to play it a certain way because you got value. Like I said before, you know, I made the mistake of being too hard on certain situations when I should have bended. So usually women like her, you got to give them a chance to reconcile. And another thing, to reconcile it in their mind. And another thing that's very potent on them is their friends and their families have a lot of say-so. Women buckle to peer pressure. You see what I'm saying? So you got some challenges, but what I would say is first, man, just being honest. You know what I mean? I would just tell her what it is and put the cards on the table, and you know what I mean? Like, that's what I would do. I don't really. It's really no other kind of way to play it.
No, you're right, because I was you know, thinking about that. I'm saying we split up, but you know, Shorty still want to deal with me. We talk. She even came up to me and was like, the main woman.
Y'all split, but she still want to deal with you.
Yeah, and she, hold on, let me.
All right, well, yeah, I get it. I get what you were saying now, Hondo. Yeah, she's orbit. You got to keep her in orbit. You got to be a self-sufficient so she's in your orbit.
Mm-hmm. She came to me was like.
Okay, what she came to you with?
Yeah, she came to me was like, we should make a contract. I said, oh,
wow.
shit. I put this on my dead granny. She said that. I said, you know what? Let me think this out, but I'm making it because I know how she's going. She's, you know what I'm saying?
Bro, that
it's
was
this
wild.
princess
that was
mentality.
move right there.
Very wild.
She got this princess mentality. You know, the little Disney culture. She still want me to herself, but she know, you know what I'm saying, what I'm about. So that's why I'm like, you know what I'm saying, I ain't gonna have this string her along, because I'm just really focused on myself right now, until it's like the other bride. I just want to be strategic. If you want to make this contract, here we go. But I got to do it, though.
Because I don't want her to
get touched. You said what?
I got template contracts. We got to link up, because this is actually what I advocate for brothers to make these contracts with these with women that stipulate, you know, the way the relationship is supposed to operate. But what I'm just going to say real quick is, what's interesting is you got anything you want, brother. You just got to work your angle, man. She's willing to negotiate. She's willing to negotiate. When she says she wants a contract, that means she's willing to negotiate terms and conditions, because women know that the quality of masculine men who are worth keeping is few and far between. So she's saying, look, you know, she won't work something out. So just work something out, but make it so her dignity and respect is intact, and everybody's dignity and respect is intact. That's the challenge right there.
And she also told me, she was like, I only want you to touch me.
See?
That's why I'm not going nowhere.
Another thing.
She was like, I only want you to touch me. And on top of that, I don't have to deal with her having male friends or any of that. You know what I'm saying? The BS. You know what I'm saying? I have a beautiful, oh my God, this woman beautiful, but she told me she don't want nobody to touch her but her, and she want that contract. I'm like, now I got to play this smart.
Oh, you better not fuck this up, brother.
Oh, no.
You better not fuck this up, bro.
Hey, Brother Reed, this your finest hour, bro. Brother Reed, this your finest hour, man. You better get this right the first time.
Hell yeah. You gotta
see, I appreciate this because I talked to, you know what I'm saying, my pops about this. You know what I'm saying? I read what y'all put on the book. Hondo, you the one that accepted, you know what I'm saying, sent the friend request. I accepted that. I just been peeping games. So, you know, men got to use their resources and, you know what I'm saying, come together.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I appreciate the support too, man. You know, I like it when people hit me up and like, yo, man, I've been, you know, I got cats who've been like watching my videos and stuff literally for the last 7 years, and then they'll just pop and say, oh yeah, man, I've been watching your videos the last 7 years, man. I got your book 3 years ago too, and it made me believe that all that work ain't in vain, man. Because Brother Matthew asked me in another show, if we get a chance to do another interview, and then in a video interview later in the next season, I'll get a chance to actually tell some of the pitfalls I experienced. So, you know, I almost got fired from like 3 different jobs because I was talking about polygamy with people who were customers, and they were all in. They were interested. You know, the vast majority of them were like, wow, man, that's deep. Like, I didn't know all that, you know. So it's a thing of that journey I've taken, because I've taken like a little harder journey than most people. I don't just talk about it online. I'm actually out here in person. I've literally talked about polygamy every day since May 2010 with somebody. So I'm gleaning information, man. But it's a lot of hard work. It takes a lot out of you too, because everybody want to hit you up and ask you questions. You know, I'm like, man, I do consultations for a fee now. You know, so I'm glad that you were able to get something from it. and even jump in on the conversation too here, man. Because your situation is interesting, man. But I really hope that you make the right move with that. And you're taking it slow. That's why you didn't just jump in and say, okay, these other sisters like me, I'm gonna smash and whatever. You're actually like, okay, I need to do this right. So I think Brother Matt will agree.
Yeah, so Sham, I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow, man.
Yeah. Get at me, brothers. You know what I'm saying? We you know what I mean? Help you not fuck that up. You know what I'm saying? They got
you just get on the right road quick.
Yo,
man.
This when I picked the right one, where we can just move and money's not the issue. Oh my God, man! I was just being strategic and boom, here I go.
Listen,
you know
man,
3 years in the making. 3 years in the freaking making. I'm trying to make this forever.
Indeed.
But I'll get it, y'all.
Definitely, bro. Appreciate you calling in, man. Share that with us. Definitely.
All right, brother. All right. Slow, bro.
All right.
We got caller ending in 90. We had a couple callers that was in the queue, but they dropped off. If you're in the queue and you got a question, a statement you want to make, press 1 so we can, bring you on or whatever.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear from some of the folk out there while we got the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Because we passionate about this, we can go in. But
absolutely,
yeah, man, call in so we can get it, somebody else in on the cipher, man. I think that'll be good.
All right, well, we got caller ending in 6876. Peace, you on the air. What's your name? What you want to share with us?
Shalom, brethren. Hondo, this is Brother Cacone. I was just appreciating you.
What's going on?
Have I had a train wreck of my own? But the reality is, the things that this warfare tactic really gives us as a people is worth every bit of the energy that you putting into this. And I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, man. Honest.
I just wanted to give you that tonight, and that's it. Shalom.
Shalom.
No doubt. Wow. All right, we have call in 9760. You there? Call in 9760. All right.
Might have you on mute. I don't know if they got you on mute or what.
Yeah, yeah. But before we get to another call, again, if you got any question or comment, statement, anything, just press and get you in the queue. But one thing I wanted to say too, based on what the brother who the brother Reed, is the interesting thing about a situation like that is when a woman knows your value, she will seek to keep that value in her life. You see, and that's essentially what brothers have to get into the business of doing, is making sure that their value is acknowledged. It's similar to what I was telling the brother, because early in the show I spoke about a situation where I had a young lady who was on, she was part of my harem or whatever, and she told my mother, she was like, yeah, he's worth it. And see, I always had a thing of doing that, and that's a Moorish thing too, because the Moors used to have their mothers run their harem. So I always bring women through. My people like, you don't let them meet your mom. Now, I want my moms to meet them, see what my mom think about them. You know what I mean? Because my mom, she's definitely spiritual. She would point out like, nah, I told you that wasn't the one. Or I told you the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But my point is that you got to know how to pick them. You know what I mean? I had all types, but the college educated, you'd be surprised. The college educated women, they kind of need polygyny more than the non-educated women, because the non-educated women, they know how to use their vagina in ways to continuously get resources. But the educated women, the women who trying to do stuff in life and not just trying to be basic and regular, they need polygamy because they're going to end up, they're going to end up just running through a string of guys and being left alone. With irregardless, you see a lot of them. They older, they got good jobs or good money and this that, but they're miserable. They don't got no men in their life. Those, before they even get that far, that's why those types need polygamy. And usually they are more apt to deal with it in many instances because they actually don't have all the time in the world to just be around one guy all day, every day. They just
I got that in my book.
With a woman needs what they needed.
I got that exact thing already in the manuscript, man. All them chicks, all them degrees and all that, because they can't service their man. They can't service their man. They too busy climbing corporate ladders. You know what I'm saying? So, here's the thing, Brother Manson, what you're touching on, and we got to be real blunt about this. Now, I hope a lot of women are listening, okay? You will be treated by a man the way you present yourself to that man. That's just our natural instinct. We're going to treat you how you present yourself to us. You come at us with, I got 3 degrees and, and I don't really need no man. I want a man, I need it. And, you work 75 hours a week. Okay, we're going to treat you like a woman with 3 degrees who don't really need a man, who comes around, but you work 75 hours a week. We're going to treat you like, because if a woman is only going to be around, say, 5 hours a week, trust me, we're going to utilize the 5 hours basically to have sex with her. Now, if you, and ladies, it's not about you trying to argue the point and, well, my friend Dave or whoever ain't like that. Don't no man want to be your friend. Men don't want to just hang around women like that. So we maximize our time with women to get 2 things. Brother Manson, I know you know this, sex and labor. What polygamy boils down to, how we relate with women, is sex and labor. That's what polygamy is about. And nobody wants to say that because it doesn't sound fancy. It doesn't really appeal to women's sensibilities. We ain't talking about all that. We're just talking about grassroots, what it is, traditional culture up to the present day. Culture that works. Sex and labor. Yes, Brother Manson, now you know good and well, if me and you meet up and you bring 4 of your women, I bring 2 of my women, we'll be grinning and cheese and chest bumping, giving each other that because we brought it to. It's honor. It's an honor system for men.
Right.
Because you have access to all this tail. Like, we just need to be blunt about that. We got access to all this tail. And then we can manage them too. And they actually like you. And they actually like you and want to help you. That makes the difference.
Right.
So sex and labor, brother.
I'm just going to bring an interesting article up that's on Morris Harum. It's called How to Control and Dominate Women. Anybody, you go to morrisharum.com, you can check it out. But it's a comment left by a woman on it, and it says, yes, grow up, take initiative, make the decision, and apologize for it later if need be. Get it done. Problem solving. So I think brothers got to understand that even the women, they may act a certain way about their sensibilities not being catered to, but it's usually a way for them to gauge the boldness of that man and a test of his strength and his character to just be blunt and flat out straight with it. You see what I'm saying? And once brothers see what brothers have to learn how to do is use 10% finesse and 90% masculinity, brute bluntness, because the bottom line is that's what maleness is, not finessing. And black men usually they have grown up in a culture where, because it's so matriarchal, they have to finesse a woman to get what they want, and that's not masculine to be finessing. It's just not. You know what I mean? Being straight, blunt forward. This is what it is. This is how it's going. I speaking from personal experience, I've got more favorable response out of women than being on some trying to finesse them stuff, because the reality is I just put the cards on the table. Women, if you understand, when women are very commercially based, driven mentally, and so even when they go shopping, they are looking for the best deal. So the third, fourth definition of the word commerce is sexual intercourse. You understand? So the whole point is that you have to think like a businessman when you're dealing with women. So if I've got a business or some kind of deal that I'm trying to make, I'm going to come to the company that I want to make the deal with and put my cards on the table, and it's up to them to go through it and take it or leave it. And then I'll just shop around to others. You see what I'm saying? So the whole point is that approach for me works, and it has, and I get a lot more respect from the women that I'm dealing with based on that, because there's no games. If the game being played, it's her trying to run the game. But then
I'm glad you mentioned that, though, that she receives more respect. I'm glad you said that, because we do respect women who help us on our mission. Like we don't respect any other women, and that, I believe, that's one reason why there's such pushback among alpha males toward the majority women now, especially in the West. We're like, no, you know what? And the things we're saying toward and about women are crass, because cooperative women are so difficult to find now that when we do see them, even when they're not our women, we bestow honor upon them. We will even protect that woman in lieu of her man if he is not around or if he's deceased, because she's been bestowed honor upon by her man.
Right.
And that's something that we don't say enough. And I always hope deep within my soul, my sanctified soul, as we say, I really hope that women catch on to what we're saying in this discussion, because that's something they have to keep in mind. Honor. Master Malik Kambisa said this. He's another good brother, one of my friends and associates. He's writing a couple of books too. One of them's on the gender war. Hopefully he's listening in. But Master Malik said Master Hondo, he said, look, women don't intrinsically have honor. Men intrinsically have to gain honor from other men. Women are bestowed honor upon by men. Men give them honor. They're not honor without men. They're not. Nobody says that's an honorable woman. Nobody says that. If they do, it's because she has a husband. I was like, wow.
Well, let me corroborate that real quick. Solomon, you know what I'm saying? Prophet Solomon said that a virtuous woman is worth her weight in gold. Mm-hmm. When you look up the etymology of the word virtue, it's going to take you to ver, and it's the qualities of a man: courage, integrity, honor. You get where I'm going with this?
Yep, it works. It points to some type of action. Yep.
Right. So a woman who is virtuous is a woman who has the qualities of a man, in the context that her virtue has been guarded and bestowed upon by men. So I'm just corroborating that with you, because virtue etymologically means the qualities of a man, i.e. courage, integrity, honor, et cetera, et cetera.
That's true. And I'm glad you broke down what virtue really is. The virtuous woman in the Tehillim, Psalms, the Kohelet, when you're looking at what we call Proverbs, at the very end of that book, this woman is married. Now, you see a lot of women running around trying to, I want to be the virtuous woman of Proverbs 31, and they've been doing that for years. They've been striving for that for years, but they refuse to marry.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get that unless you're married. That woman is married.
Yep.
I've even seen, it's funny, you go on these social networks and you will see a woman actually describe herself as a Proverbs 31 woman, but she's single. I'm like, wait a minute. The Proverbs 31 woman, not only was she single, but she had maid service, which means her man had additional wives. But see,
Right.
nobody want to say that. But her man was polygamous. That's a polygamous household that she's the estate manager of. See, our wives are our estate managers.
Absolutely.
They are supreme estate managers.
See, that's interesting you bring that up because I qualify that in Islam. One of the rules or one of the obligations that a woman has in a marriage is to guard her husband's wealth and to not let anyone in his house that he does not want there. You see, even if it's a family member of hers. So when you talk about guardians of the man's estate, that's precisely what women are. They guard your estate. You see what I'm saying? Absolutely. Just want to corroborate that.
Yeah, in Torah, the wife, is described as a kenegdo. And, of course, Hebrew, and the problem with us trying to translate in the West is we try to get a strict definition, but Hebrew words are not like that. Hebrew words are very picturesque, have 720 degrees of meaning. When you look at what Ezra kenegdo means, you said what?
That's the same thing with Arabic.
Absolutely. That's why the English language is faulty, because it's a hybridized, it's a bastardized language, because it tries to blend in a whole bunch of different cultural concepts into one lane, and it doesn't work. But Ezra kenegdo in Torah is what is described as helper fit. And help meet is an Elizabethan English term. It just means helper fit. Meet, if someone is meet for a task, that means they're fitting for the task, or a helper fit for Adam or Adamu. That was Kwa or Kaba or Eve, okay, who was actually his second wife. She was not his first wife. You look in the books of Adam and Eve, which are not in the Ceaseless Book canon, you will find that Adam has other wives, and Lilith rebelled, which is why you have so many motifs and cults about Lilith that are centered around Lilith. Okay, the legends of female rebellion, especially surrounding her sex, with her sex being her power. That's Lilith. So going back, Ezra kenegdo indicates that the woman, when you use the picturesque aspect of the language, the woman is actually the man's physical guardian. She guards that man and who he is. So that aligns right along with what you stated about the Islamic spiritual approach to her role. I have always been comfortable, and I have always felt protected when I was around women who served me, for instance. I've always felt guarded because my mind opened up.
I'll give you an example, right? I checked her for it. She was wrong for how she did it, but she saw what I didn't see. I had this business meeting, right? One of my women that was in my harem some years ago. This is like 2009. And I had a business meeting with some guys from Florida. They came to the office, and they was proposing we do some type of business or whatever, right? Some real estate deal. And she just, at the time, my woman, she just barked out like, "Oh, no, we're not doing this. You think he's just supposed to put all the money in and take all the risk, and y'all not, et cetera, et cetera." I'm like, "Yo, she tripped me. What the fuck is wrong?" You know what I'm saying? But she was right. They had ill intentions, bro. They had ill intentions. The business went bad. But her natural instinct was just to jump out there to protect, my interest right there,
She went off on some dudes.
Say that again?
You said she went off on some men?
Yeah, two men in the meeting with me. She went off on them for trying to get over. And what's interesting, though, is I say that to say, not to say that women are bitches, but I just find it interesting that a female dog is way more protective than the male dog is.
Yep.
Just find that interesting. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that, not saying women are bitches or anything like that, but I'm just saying when because we take so many references from the nature and the animal kingdom, female dogs are way more protective and loyal than the male ones are. Just wanted to put that out there. To
No,
corroborate,
you make an excellent point. Just observing nature, lionesses again, lions are polygamous. These lionesses, okay, if you go back to these shows about nature, there used to be a show on PBS called Nature, and my grandfather used to sit and watch that like twice a day. And me and my cousins used to go, my male cousins used to surround our grandfather. He was the patriarch of our family. We used to surround him and watch scientific shows with him. And every time I've ever seen lions being recorded in their pride, the lionesses are always surrounding him. Even when they're laying down, they're surrounding him. He's leaned up against a tree somewhere, and they're surrounding him, at least in a semicircle. And they guard him. They're always looking around and surveying, and he's chilling. Now, isn't that something? But then you got these women who say, well, I'm a lioness. But then they'll say, well, I don't agree with polygamy. It's like, well, you're not a lioness. You need to stop. You need to pull yourself like a praying. You're a female praying mantis. You're killing your male counterpart. I'm sorry, your consort. You're killing your male consort. You're a black widow. You're killing your male consort. That's what they're doing. See,
you know what's interesting about that too?
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about that is when you observe the nature of how lions and lionesses interface, the lion doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything. He's only there for the beef. If another male comes along, that's when he's about to lash. That's when he gets into action. Other than that, he don't hunt for the food. He don't do nothing. He just chill. You know what I mean?
Yep,
but we got one more caller. I want to bring this caller in because I think we got only 4 minutes left on the hour of this show. We got calling in 0113. 0113. You're on the air.
Yo, peace, Islam. What's good? You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Who is this?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to chime in. My name is Madison.
What's your name, brother?
My name is Madison.
Peace, Madison.
Okay, no doubt.
Peace. Yeah. So I just wanted to chime in. It's not quite as glorious or Islamic, but I was in the last weekend. I went to the club, and I don't never go to the club or whatever. I'll be just working, but I was with my homegirl the whole time. This is what I would consider my main girlfriend. I was with her, and she had, broke off and went to one of her friends' houses. So, whatever. So we all meet back up, and we go into the club. But it's just me, and it's like 4 other women, and all of these women are interested in me and want to hang out with me, and I'm, buying drinks, and there's plenty of dudes in the club, and they're looking at me like, who is this guy with all these women? And my main girl was like, you look like the man right now with all these women surrounding me. And I was like, well, it's kind of supposed to be that way. I'm deserving of that. I got the proper character to have all these women around me. So I just thought it was apropos that this is the conversation tonight, and I had my harem with me the other day. That's all I wanted to chime in this year.
No doubt. Get your shot on, bro. Listen, man, this is the lifestyle of alpha males. Like you got beta males that's probably cringing right now, hating the fact that we're having this conversation. But like you said, I got the character. I'm deserving of it. Hey, man, it's supposed to be like that. So congrats to you and honors to you. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. And
you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate how it occurred naturally. Like with Brother Matty, it occurred naturally. It wasn't nothing forced. He just showed up with his main woman and poof. It's like 4 females.
It was a woman that I never met before, and she was showing all this type of interest in me, like asking me questions the whole night. Like she wanted to know everything, basically. And this is the first time I interacted with her. The 2 other women that my homegirl, my main girl, brought, I knew them already. They were familiar with me. When I say this,
I'm saying it in the context. Women are more spiritual than men in the context that they lead with their intuition. We don't lead with our intuition. So they're in tune with vibes and energy. So when a masculine man is around, feminine women just going to gravitate to him. It has nothing to do with what he has to say, how he looks, what he's wearing. It's all energy, pheromones, and masculinity and femininity. So, you know what I mean? They can pick up on vibes and energy and strength. You know what I mean? Them being a weaker physically vessel, they can pick up on masculine strength instantly. You know what I mean? So that I think that has something to do with it as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And even my main girl claims, she's not masculine, but she's into girls, or she used to be into girls, she claims. And I think that has something to do. And I think, like you're saying with the masculinity, I think that makes her feel, safe and secure and more feminine, just because I'm a man's man, or whatever you call it, the alpha male.
Absolutely. But I appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us, brother. Definitely. The show's about to cut abruptly since we have reached our hour. So I just want to thank everybody that called in, everybody that participated. I definitely want to thank you, Brother Hondo. You already know anytime you want, when you get the project finished, we're going to get that thing going. You already know we got all kinds of stuff planned for the future. So y'all stay tuned. Go check him out on Facebook, Hondo Solomon. Check him out on YouTube, Hondo Solomon, Polygamous Papers. Pick up the book on Amazon.com, Polygamous Papers. Google it, YouTube it, Facebook it. The brothers out there, groundbreaking information. It's going down. Harem life, polygamy. That's how we living. Alpha males. Peace out. One yourself.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming, and I'm loud. Roar!
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything!
Safeway offers grocery delivery right to your front door or even into your kitchen. You can order everything from fresh produce to milk and eggs to bulk items like bottled water. All your weekly grocery shopping needs, even your pet's food too. Enjoy free delivery on your first order. It's easy. And with 1-hour delivery windows, you get your groceries when it's most convenient for you. Just go to Safeway.com, click on the grocery delivery tab, or download the Safeway grocery delivery app and get your groceries delivered. Safeway, it's just better.